Okay, so as promised, we have delightful portraits of every single one of the Primarchs. There's 18 of them. There were originally 20, but we don't talk about two of them. And we're not going to talk about them today because there is literally nothing to talk about. They don't exist, basically.
Ah,
There's a whole
okay.
thing where there are two legions who were like scrubbed from all records because they did something so horrible they can never be mentioned ever again, even ignoring the fact that 8 of the remaining legions turned traitor and are now worshipping chaos gods and trying to kill everyone. But apparently, that's better than whatever those 2 legions they did. I
Wow.
just it, you
Wow.
gotta wonder what it was.
That's some real classic nerd group drama.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, as you can see, we have our tier list with our very scientific rankings here. Crawling in my skin. These wounds, they will not heal. Fear is how I fall. Confusing what is real. And actually, I'm doing fine. I think that's pretty
So,
self-explanatory.
so because I am not familiar, I would like to ask you to start with a character that you think falls squarely in the middle
Oh,
so that we can like sort of calibrate our ranking.
fair. I was going to go in order because they are numbered.
Well, because otherwise, like, what if the first one I'm like, oh, that's maximum edge lord, and then the second one only one ups the first one, and then we're just all on S tier. Like, I need
Uh,
I need a calibration.
fair. Well, honestly, the first one might be a bit of a calibrator. I'm a little torn on where I'd put the first guy, so we can talk about him.
Okay, let's talk about him.
Because the very first person is, let's see, where is he in this little list? Ah, I believe this is him. Yes, Lion L. Johnson.
Is he a football player?
No, he's actually named after a gay poet.
Oh,
Lionel Johnson, I think.
yeah, I would fucking think so.
Yeah,
That would be the name.
and for some reason they decided to name one of the Primarchs after him. So,
There
cool.
must be a reason. You don't. The
He
no,
wrote
there
like a
must be a
poem that has like a
reason.
title that's relevant, if I recall correctly, something along those lines. Belafon, this is going to be pre and post heresy because I don't think you can really qualify someone and how edgelordy they are until you take a
Oh,
look at
his
both.
his greatest work,
Oh yeah, the
his
Dark
greatest
Angel.
poem, yeah, was called Dark Angel.
And his chapter, I mean his legion are the Dark Angels. So yes, there you go.
Oh, wow. So somebody just really liked his work. That's wild.
Hmm. So, I'll just yeah, let me take a look through his wiki here. So basically this guy was the first of the Primarchs who was created. He's actually pretty cool with his dad. You know, there's not that much fuck you dad energy, but
Mhm.
he is perhaps one of the most difficult to place because he's kind of all over the place in how he's presented in the fluff.
Oh.
So basically, if you're not familiar, when they were created, all the Primarchs were snatched up by chaos and scattered across the galaxy to hide them from the Emperor, and they all ended up on different worlds, and that influenced how they grew up.
Okay.
Lion was sent off to a hostile feudal death world infested with monstrous chaos warped great beasts, and it was called Caliban. It was a
Oh
bit,
my god, that's the new gods. That's the new gods.
uh,
That's Jack Kirby's new gods.
not really in this instance. I wouldn't say. I see where you're going there. There was a guy named Kalabak, I think,
Yeah.
but
It's fine. It's fine.
it's basically it was a feudal world
Mhm.
where they could kind of make power armor and kind of make bolt pistols, but it was just that was all they could do to keep the great beasts at bay. They found him in the forest as a lonely feral child, took him in and raised him up, where he became a big lad.
Mhm.
And yeah, Caliban is the guy from the Tempest.
Yeah, very I mean everybody's name in this is a reference that's commonly used in other fantasy settings. I feel like it's sort of they're all here. They're all here. We were just fighting a faction called the Orlocks. Like, I mean, they're all the references. They're all here, and this is arguably where many of them originate.
Mhm.
This and Dungeons and Dragons. Anyway.
So he's extremely, extremely bad at parties. Uh, he's just
Hmm.
kind of an asshole to everybody, but he doesn't really talk either. He just doesn't like other people, just in general. He's just kind
He's
of
a
his own
woodsman.
person.
He's a feral child.
Yeah, and there's Shakespeare all over this guy. Yeah, chat is correct.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Let's
Mm-hmm.
see.
So he's an intellectual as
Hmm.
well as a feral woodsman. But I mean, you would never know. You have to get to know him to know how intelligent he really is.
So getting into the fuck you dad energy, he doesn't actually have that much. His dad found him, and dad gave him immediately command of his Space Marine Legion because each of the legions is based off of their Primarch's genetic code.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all his
So
sons, technically.
So the most edgelordy thing, I mean, that he does is just kind of be like kind of gruff and abrasive and not talk to people. Yeah, he's introverted.
Yes. He's very introverted and he's very prideful in that because there was a point where him and his brother Russ got into a fight because Russ was calling Lion out for kill stealing.
Stealing.
Literally that's what it was. They got into a
Wow, it's
fist
against the bro code.
so they got in a fist fight about it. And Russ like started laughing because he realized that, oh wait, hold on a moment, this is dumb. We're being really dumb. Aren't we a pair of silly goofballs? Ha ha ha. And Lion did not appreciate the laughter, so he just punched him the fuck out and then left.
Okay, so he's not 0%. But I don't even know if I would call that middle of the road. I would call that confusing what is real. Like I'm confused about whether he is an edgelord or just kind of an asshole. Seems like he's just kind of an asshole a little bit.
Yeah, I'd say kind of an asshole is the thing. The only other notable thing that can be really applied here is that his Legion and him are all about like keeping like everything possible secret. Like that's kind of the
Hmm.
joke in the community is that everything about them is redacted because they just kind of
Because they're all introverts.
they're all introverted. They don't want anyone outside the organization knowing anything about them. To be fair, they have their reasons because the other joke is that they're all closet heretics, but that's due to some
Hmm.
post-heresy stuff where Lionel Johnson was not conscious because at the end of the crusade, he ended up getting badly injured by his best bro who turned on him. Uh, his best friend from childhood turned to chaos, betrayed him, and then
Okay.
yeah,
We're that's enough definitely another step toward being an edgelord, being betrayed by your best friend. That's like
yeah,
a classic.
basically his best friend was kind of not that they were a little bit on the outs, so he just left his best friend at home to train up new recruits, and his best
Hmm.
friend was pissed off about this, so he got angrier and angrier until he eventually fell to chaos. So when Lion came back home while the heresy was going, he found his best friend had like taken over the planet and was like, get out of here, man. This is my fort, you're not allowed.
Oh my
uh
god.
so then they got
Wow.
into a
So he's also got guilt and regret for not being a better friend.
Yeah, no, that is kind of what's going on. They both have that by
Okay.
the end of it because
Okay.
Lion gets grievously injured and is dragged away by little Jawas, basically. Like literally, he gets dragged away by 40k Jawas.
Yeah. So his friend, they were just friends. They were very close, but they were just friends. They were very close friends. You say?
As far as I am aware, they've never gone into
Hmm.
anything else.
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh,
Okay. Well, I'm skeptical, but yeah,
fair.
I think the whole being betrayed by your ex-boyfriend type of thing is definitely elevating him one more than I would have put him. So yeah, it would be in the middle. I think that's a good one.
However, I do have one other balancing factor.
Mhm.
At one point during the heresy, he had a chance to take out his brother Conrad Kurz, who was one of the Chaos lads, but he couldn't bring himself to kill his brother the first time around. He just couldn't kill his own brother.
He couldn't kill his brother the first time. Was there a subsequent time where he did?
He didn't kill him the second time, but he sure was a lot more eager to do it the second time.
Okay, you're right. You're right. If he was higher on the list, then he would have killed his brother the first time. So yeah, I think that's a good ranking.
So I don't know. I think would you say confusing what is real or fear is how I fall?
I think fear is how I fall. I was in confusing what is real until you told me about the best friend epic betrayal, top 10 anime betrayals, which
Mhm.
definitely knocks him
Mhm.
up one tier
True.
because that's you know, that's one of the like classics where, it's going to take you pretty far up the list, not as far as like daddy issues,
Mhm.
but betrayed by best friend is like the second thing
Okay, okay, fair
after
enough.
daddy issues.
And we don't have that much else to go off of because he's been asleep for the past 10,000 years. So,
Yeah, because like it's like betrayed by best friend is like such a high school thing,
mhm.
and then it's like, oh, I'm gonna have this play out in my Warhammer game.
Okay, so I think we can leave Lion L. Johnson there. The second Primarch
Okay,
is redacted. There is no second Primarch. So
okay.
we move on to the third Primarch, and I'm interested how we go from here. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so it's our boy Fulgrim, the Primarch of the Emperor's Children. Slanesh lad in these days. The Primarch of glam metal, indeed. Let's see, where
Which one? Which
is
picture is it?
where are you, Fulgrim? Yeah, here we go. There's Fulgrim.
Ah,
So,
this one. Okay, I figured it was one of the pretty
oh
boys.
no, he's 100% a pretty boy. So, Fulgrim
Okay.
is again the Primarch of the Emperor's Children.
Okay, so just looks alone, at least a B. At
Mhm.
least these wounds they will not heal, just based on looks alone.
I'm gonna go ahead and read the first bits of his wiki entry here because I just find them
Okay.
funny. Fulgrim, also known in time before the Horus Heresy as the Phoenician, is the Primarch of the Emperor's Children. He possessed silvery white hair and was quite vainglorious, as his entire life was dedicated to the pursuit of perfection in all things, physical, mental, and spiritual. Today, Fulgrim is a four-armed serpentine demon prince of Slanesh.
Yes, slay! Oh, what a glow up. Where is he now? Where's the picture of what he looks like now?
Yeah, he wishes he were Griffith is 100% correct. Uh,
Young Fulgrim. Oh, bitch. Oh, bitch.
did you look up Slaneshi Fulgrim?
No, I just looked at the image that Bellerophon posted of young Fulgrim, which
Oh, okay.
looks like whew, wow. Just, the elusive twink top.
Indeed. No, that's exactly what he is. So basically, he was sent to a bleak, unforgiving world called Chemos.
Okay.
That was perpetually shrouded in twilight. So land of perpetual darkness, as you
Oh,
do.
oh my god. Please put him up a step already
Well,
as we're
well,
speaking.
hold on. We're getting there. We're
I
getting
want
there.
but this is my live feedback reaction.
Well, his
This
actually
is classic Urchin, everyone. He was like, "Oh, I want you to be involved," but
okay.
really, what it is he's gonna talk to me until I agree with whatever he
I
wants to
wasn't gonna
do.
put him. No, I just wanted to keep going a little bit because his origin isn't that edgelordy actually.
Okay, modern Fulgrim image in the chat. Oh my god! Wow, what
So
a glow up!
basically, it was a land of fortress factories where basically everyone worked every hour of every day. No one had any time for any art, leisure, recreation, nothing. They just worked, worked, worked until they died.
They had to
Uh,
piss in bottles.
yes, everything was cut. Like all the ways to the planet were buffeted by warp storms, so it was hard for traders to reach the planet. So yeah, basically everyone was dying. Then they found Fulgrim, who started like all the Primarchs. Like basically went from infancy to like full-grown adult in like basically a few days. Well, okay, maybe a couple of years, but they grew up very quickly. And eventually, he was just so awesome at everything that he improved the efficiency of everything in the world. By the age of 15, that he became one of the executives of the fucking Fortress Factory.
So he's a libertarian.
Essentially. But he
Wow.
did end up making everything better and basically ran everything until everything was awesome.
Okay.
So now people didn't need to work all the time, and instead they were able to like listen to music, chill, go on vacation, shit like that.
Oh wow, so he was actually heroic
Yes, he
in
was
what he
heroic in
did.
this instance. Is there a Yes, there are actually a couple of Primarchs who did not land on Hell planets. We'll get to them.
So he landed on a bad planet and he made it better.
Yes. Emperor showed up, saw he did everything awesome, was like, hey, son, you did great. Now here's your Legion. Unfortunately, his Legion had problems with their gene seed, so there were very few of them. So he basically just dedicated himself to trying to make his Legion, though they were few, be the best. And that's kind of where his fall started, because he was like, I must be the best in everything.
Oh.
He became best friends with Ferrus Manus, one of the other Primarchs, and they were like total bros. Even though Ferrus Manus was like a grim, grr, I just like my forge, and I don't need beauty. I'm just grr, grr.
Mm-hmm.
My name is literally Iron Hands.
All right.
And yeah, they had a bromance. They
Okay.
they made weapons for each other and totally didn't kiss. Uh,
Oh, okay.
and yeah, they traded the weapons they made for each other, and they were all cool. That'll be important later. But anyway, eventually Fulgrim found a sword, and the sword was possessed by a demon, a Slaanesh demon. And yeah, he just started listening to the sword more and more, started getting edgier and edgier, got more and more into death metal, got into outsider art. Uh, his Marines started doing the same. There's an entire book about this, which is about all of them deciding that wouldn't it be a great idea if we started like painting with human blood, that kind of thing.
Wow. So he was actually like kind of a like a stand-up guy, and then he just got corrupted by a sword.
Yes. So the sword.
Like the soul edge.
Mm-hmm. And then he eventually teamed up with Horus and tried to get his best buddy Ferrus Manus to join him. Ferrus Manus was like, "Grr, no, I'm too stoic." So yeah, he ended up decapitating his best friend.
No, evil. What? So
Mm-hmm.
what is I think there's a difference between being an edgelord and being evil. And I don't know where like evil falls on the edgelord scale, because like part of being an edgelord is like sort of like overstepping your own like boundaries, and like where it's like the whole point of calling someone an edgelord is like that their bark is worse than their bite. So if they're cruel and they actually do the thing, then they're just evil.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, he's definitely
So I,
evil as fuck.
I don't know where I don't know where evil belongs on the graph here.
I'd say he's also still pretty damn edgy because he's basically a cackling Saturday morning cartoon villain, but with a lot more like blood and weird instances where his friends try to exorcise the demon in him via a bladed butt plug. That's a thing that happens in one of the
What?
books that I read. Yeah. He's cool with it though, because he actually already exorcised the demon himself and is just evil in general now, and he actually liked the bladed butt plug because that's Slaaneshi.
Okay, never mind. That's wow.
That's a thing that happened in a book I read.
Okay. That definitely has the absurd characteristics that I would associate with being a fucking edgelord. I feel like we can go further though. Like he's definitely not top tier.
Probably not. I can think of at least one person who's
Yeah.
more edgy than him. Uh,
Like a top tier would be like edgelord since birth. Like day
True.
one,
Oh, we've
woke
got
up
we've got some
and
people
was
like
like,
that.
I am a goth from day one out the womb, you
Yeah,
know?
Vox got it in one. We've already talked about him once, so. But yeah, so he betrayed all of his buddies along with the rest of the Chaos guys, and ever since then he's basically been betraying his everybody possible whenever he thinks it's funny or cool or will be artistic in some way. And
Oh
yeah,
my god. What an asshole.
yep, no, he's just a giant
Yeah,
dick.
wow. Wow. I love the idea of him doing it, like doing betrayals as an art piece.
Mm-hmm.
That's very
Oh,
funny to me.
at the siege of Terra, when all the like Chaos Legions were trying to actually defeat the Emperor and like win, he kind of fucked everything up because him and all of his boys just at a certain point were like, This siege is kind of boring. Why don't we just go like murdering and doing much worse things to all just the civilians in the area instead of actually being uh productive in any way? And so they did that.
Oh my god. Wow, that is a real edgelord thing to do. Wow.
And
Yeah,
he's
no.
still around to this day, living on his pleasure planet for the most part, occasionally coming
Oh
out.
my god.
He has a pleasure planet.
Wow. Well, he is a worshiper of Slanesh,
Hmm.
so
As he should.
yeah. Yeah,
He's
okay. Very high, like definitely an edge lord, but he wasn't always. He had to be converted via a
mhm,
sword. So I think that he can't possibly be top tier edge lord because top tier edge lord again, edge lord from birth, not
mhm.
just because of a sword.
The sword was preying upon like existing cracks within him, so there were hints of it before, but yeah, nothing close to what he would be.
Yeah.
So we want to these wounds they will not heal then?
Yeah, I
Okay,
think
okay, we
so.
can leave him there. We can adjust as necessary. Okay, so I think that's a good spot for Fulgrim for the moment. Next, this guy. So the fourth Primarch, Primarch of the Iron Warriors.
Okay.
Ah, honestly,
Perturabo sounds like a robot name.
oh, and he's kind of a robot-y dude, honestly. Uh, Basically, the the way that I can sum up his character is that he is like an old school grognardy tabletop wargamer.
Which picture is he?
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. Let's bring up the wiki before anything else. He would be here he is. That guy.
Oh, he's yelling.
Oh, he's yelling. He's really angry most of the time.
This this picture from like far away looks like his face is just like a Coke can, like a soda can with a man's face painted on it. He looks like low res.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. So right away I'm laughing. I find it, it's funny. Okay, that's my initial reaction. Continue.
No, as you should. You should laugh at him, and he'd hate that. Uh, so this guy is basically just angry at everyone all the time because he doesn't think anyone values him properly, but he's also not really willing to like do anything about it. He just kind of sits there grumbling, doing
Annoying.
he just kind of sits there grumbling about what he's supposed to be doing and just eventually just throws a shit fit about it without actually telling anyone that he was angry about it in the first place. Yeah, he is the passive aggressive Chaos Primarch.
Oh, he's just a little bitch. I
Yes.
see. Belafon has novel art of Perturabo, and he looks like a Sith Lord in this. He's got like the Star Wars,
Hmm.
like it's like he had white guy dreads, except they're mechanical. They're mechanical white guy dreads. And his arm is huge. Huge arm.
Hmm.
And not much other visible definition. Um because he's wearing like a robe.
Hmm. Well,
Um,
as for his background, we were talking about which Primarchs landed on
Awful.
like nice worlds. Well,
Mhm.
Perturabo actually landed on a nice world called Olympia. Basically, he was found by the planet's tyrant. I mean, it was a nice world. It was ruled by a tyrant. It was a dictatorship, but it wasn't a hell world. Is my point.
I
When
see.
you're in the 40K universe, you take what you can get.
Yeah, it was bad politically, but like the climate was not like it wasn't full of monsters and hellfire.
Correct. So basically, the tyrant of the planet found him, recognized that this boy was awesome, and was like, "Hey, look, I'm gonna adopt you, and in exchange, like you help me rule this planet." And he actually loved his sister quite a lot, but his adopted dad never loved him. So
Oh
yeah,
wow!
uh-huh.
Bump, bump, bump,
Okay,
bump it up,
I'll bump it.
bump it up,
Yeah.
bump
So
it up.
his dad didn't love him, but he liked his sister, who was nice to him.
Oh,
Spoilers,
they're not blood related.
he ends up killing his sister later.
Oh my god! Ooh. Okay, okay. This is already maybe the most edgelordy edgelord that we've had so far. He's a little
he's
shit. He is indignant. Dad didn't pay attention to me. Only nice person was my sister. And then what happened? Why did he kill her?
it was during the heresy later. So
So
we'll
what does
get
that mean?
well,
That
well,
she like betrayed him politically or what?
no, she like urged him to stop being a massive dick or something like that, and he just killed her out of frustration, basically.
Oh, so oh yeah, he's Anakin. You're so right, boy. In 1995, he's Anakin.
He's Anakin with character depth.
Yeah, he's he's higher than the other guy that's currently B tier
Okay, I
for
can
sure.
move him up a little bit for the moment. So the Emperor showed up and was like, "Okay, here's your legion." Now, the thing with Perturabo is he saw his legion and decided that they weren't good enough, so he ordered them to be decimated immediately. The first time
Oh
he
my
met them.
god!
So
Wow.
1 in every 10 people in his legion that he was just given, who are technically his genetic children, he killed 1/10 of them just because he decided they weren't good enough for him.
Wow, he's wow, it's just like Anakin.
Hmm.
um damn. Damn. That's very high tier edge lord. That's very high tier.
Hmm.
I Do you have more for me?
Yes, I do. The next section after that in the wiki, by the way, is called Bitter Resentments, and really you just could have had the entire rest of it just called under that heading.
Notable
Because all
betrayals.
all he does is bitterly resent things.
Wow. Ooh, this is very high tier.
Mm-hmm. Like he specifically hates his brother Rogel Dorn because they basically have very similar skill sets and they're both like siege people. But Rogel is kind of the one that everyone likes more because he's not. I mean, Rogel Dorn's kind of also not particularly sociable, but he's not a complete like bitter asshole like Perturabo is. So he tend to
Mhm.
get the nicer assignments. Because Perturabo's
Man.
whole thing was also just like sending his own like people just into like corpse grinders constantly. Oop, Microsoft Windows security. Sorry about
Mhm.
that.
Oh man.
Yep, the Bellefonte Rogel. I build walls. Perturabo. I break walls.
Perturabo definitely sounds like he's crawling in his skin.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and he actually has an interaction with Fulgrim that's pretty funny. Fulgrim during the heresy like tells Perturabo, "Hey, I found this awesome weapon called the Angel Exterminatus that we can use to win the war." And he goes, and it turns out that there isn't really anything like that. Fulgrim just wanted to bring Perturabo around to sacrifice him so that Fulgrim could ascend to demonhood. So even his brothers, who were like on his side after the heresy, don't really give a shit about him.
Wow. Also, on the stream, it just occurred to me: are you playing any music? I think this could use some background
Oh
music.
sure. Hmm.
You could just
Yeah.
play the song you use in the opening.
Yeah, I can just do the I'll just put on. Let me just make sure the volume's okay there. Turn off shuffle. So we're just going through this album. And yeah, good idea.
Hmm. Yeah, I think we gotta put him in crawling in my skin.
Hmm. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else I can think of that mention, because we've gotten most of the important stuff. After the heresy, he's just kind of been chilling on his planet as a demon prince. Even though he doesn't actually like chaos much, he just kind of went with it because what else was his fucking choice at that point?
Mm.
He did post heresy construct a gigantic trap that was really meant for nothing more than just making Rogel Dorn look bad, and that was
Mm.
really the last thing of importance he did.
Yeah, he sounds like a punitive little shit,
Hmm.
and I think he belongs in the A tier, crawling in my skin.
Okay, we can move him up. And yeah, much like with everyone else's opinion on Perturabo, there's not much else to say about him. His legion's also just generally is not cared about much by the well, actually no, he himself isn't cared about much by the writers. He doesn't get much love.
Hmm. Yeah, pathetic miserable, cruel. It's his level of patheticness that really elevates him above Fulgrim, who is less pathetic. Yeah.
Agreed. Now, our next boy is actually one of the nicer boys, Jagadai Khan.
Okay.
Who, let's see, who here just looks like Genghis Khan? Oh, there he is. There we go, Jagadai Khan. He's Space Genghis Khan. That's what he is.
Hell yeah, gamers.
And that basically sums up his character to a large extent. He got transported to a planet that is basically just Mongolia, the planet, Cho'Garis.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Okay.
Hey, Ghost and Roach, what's up?
Does he have a stately pleasure dome?
No, he is not about that. He is about riding motorcycles across the plains, fighting people.
Hell yes, hell yes, hell yes.
Yeah, Mongols but motorcycles is how you can sum up his legion, the White Scars.
Okay.
And yeah, his backstory is just Genghis Khan's backstory from real life. He ended up
tell
on...
me what that is. I don't know it off the top of my head.
Sure, he ended up on Mongolia World. Was found by one of the chieftains of a small tribe. Was adopted in, and eventually ended up uniting all the tribes against the the ruler, the main ruler of the planet, and like conquered them via his not Mongolian hordes. And and the Emperor showed up after that, is basically what it comes down to. Emperor showed up, was like, oh, okay, not Genghis Khan, you've conquered your world. Congratulations. Here, have a Space Marine Legion.
So he just kicks ass.
Yeah.
So he's like not that he doesn't sound like an edgelord at all.
No, he really isn't. He's actually a really nice guy. Some of his brothers don't like him because they view him as being like a barbarian, because he's all about like...
Because he's not white? What's going on there?
I mean, he's just all... I don't know exactly why some of them don't like... It just seems a little weird. I guess they just don't view him as being civilized enough.
Do all of them look like the inhabitants of the planet they landed on? Is that why they look so different from each other?
It does seem like they tend to take on aspects of where they are.
By the way, in your chat, Ghost and Roach is asking, what is this? So
Oh,
I'm going to give you
yes.
a chance to explain.
Sure, we're doing a tier list ranking of whomst among the Warhammer 40k Space Marine Primarchs are the biggest edgelords or the most well-adjusted people. It's sort of a break it before we get back to playing a little bit more of Necromunda Hired Gun.
So, I mean, this guy sounds like, actually, I'm doing fine.
Yeah, no, actually, no, Morathian's correct. The reason why a lot of his brothers don't like him right now is because, during the heresy, is because he was on the wrong side of the galaxy. Also, wasn't really sure what was happening because communications were bad. So they kind of thought he might be a traitor, even though he wasn't. He was loyal the whole time. He never had any... He didn't like some aspects of how the Emperor ruled, but he just was just generally like, Emperor's better than the alternative, so I'm cool with this.
He seems very normal then, normal brain.
And
he's the ruler, he's heroic, he is a conqueror, but not like in an edgelord way.
Yeah.
Not needlessly cruel. He's not pathetic.
He has done plenty of cool things, but not that much that's relevant to our talk right now. He just did like normal, cool, like Space Genghis Khan stuff. In fact, he was it's not known whether he was alive or dead because he disappeared into the webway trying to fight the Dark Eldar, the edgy space elves. So he was actually fighting edgelords the last time he was seen.
I see, I see. And he went into the internet and never came back.
Basically, yes.
Who knows where he is now on the World Wide Web.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I'd say more about him, but there really isn't relevant to this conversation. I don't mean to, like, be biased. I don't have much to say.
Okay, well, I think we got him then. I think he's doing fine. I mean, I don't think he's literally doing fine since he's stuck in the internet, but
yeah, he'll be back.
I mean, he's mentally seems okay.
And Bearminator, yes, there actually are space wood elves. They're called Exodites. They live on like non-technological worlds and they ride space dinosaurs, if I recall correctly. They don't show
Oh,
up that
wow.
they don't show up that much in the fluff because they don't really do very much.
They sound pretty cool. I want to ride a space dinosaur.
Now,
Okay, who's next?
let's see. Next up is, oh, well, a guy you wouldn't expect to be fairly well adjusted. We have ya boy, Lehman Russ. Let's see, who has the most wolves on him here? Oh, there he is. Ya boy Russ, Primarch of the Space Wolves, also known as the Vilka Fenrika to themselves.
Oh, those guys are good. You told me about them. I like the Space Wolves.
You know, the space, so Russ was sent to a planet called Fenris, because of course he was.
Mm-hmm.
That was basically an entire planet of Norway, but much, much more deadly.
And everyone was a werewolf, right?
There were plenty. There were like giant. There were dire wolves running all over the place. There weren't werewolves all over the place yet. That would come later.
Okay.
Excuse me. So yeah, he ended up on Fenris. Basically, his early life can be best described as Odin Thor. He was basically as Odin and Thor, raised by wolves, of course.
Fox Valentine says the fantastic space planet of ABO. I'm glad someone is aligned with my energy in the chat tonight when it comes to
ABO?
talking about these characters. Oh, did you guys know that even though Urchin has literally has an OnlyFans, he doesn't know what the Omegaverse is?
Oh, okay, that's for. I know. I'm aware of the Omegaverse. I just don't know what ABO means.
That's what that is.
Okay,
Alpha,
that's
Beta,
the.
Omega.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the shorthand for it.
I see.
Can you guys believe, like, I feel like this, like, retroactively, like, must explain, like, so many thirsty messages that he's received?
Sure.
I don't know. I mean, you've heard submissive and breedable, so you've
Yes.
basically heard ABO.
Well, to continue along with Russ, who does not have anything to do with that.
This is what we talk about on the stream when I'm here.
But yeah, no, he just raised by wolves, became like a great warrior on space Norway, etc. Emperor shows up, Emperor challenges him to like some stuff, and they have like a drinking contest, an eating contest, and a fight.
Oh my god.
Yeah, again, I think this just happened in Norse mythology. I think this is just ripping off a
Yeah.
Norse myth.
He seems like actually I'm doing fine.
Oh no, I would 100% agree with you already, even though we haven't talked about him much yet.
Yeah, that's the vibe I'm getting so far.
He's
like,
a little. Go ahead.
I would put him, from what I've heard so far, above the other one, because you did mention that the dad showed up and challenged him. So like, you know, that's like, and Thor, as we all know, it does not have zero daddy issues. So like, that's, you know, I would definitely put him above the other guy.
Well, he doesn't. No, he's actually 100% loyal to his dad. He's actually his dad's executioner. Basically, if the Emperor needed like, if some group of Space Marines was a problem, Russ was the guy that was sent in to kill them pre-heresy.
I see.
That's why a lot of the other legions didn't really trust Russ, because they knew that he was kind of like the sword hanging over their heads.
Interesting. That's a little edgelord.
A little bit.
Like a little bit.
Also, his son's genetic code, due to his, is a little unstable, and they have a tendency to turn into werewolves.
Right. Yeah.
And
so he has a legion of werewolves.
Well, all of the sons that he has in his legion normally are not. If they turn into werewolves, they generally get put into like either like cells in order to like keep them safe from themselves and others, or there's a couple of different things. I think he's had to kill them too if they get like too wild.
Okay, hold on. That's a little too edgy to be bottom tier. That's not quite bottom tier. Having to kill your own son because he turned into a werewolf. That's a little bit. That's not baseline. That's not bottom tier.
True. It is edged out a little bit though by the fact that he's one of the like small handful of Primarchs who like will actively give a shit about like normal human beings and do everything in his power to keep them safe. There was an instance where, long past heresy, there was like a chaos incursion on a planet, and the Space Wolves showed up to help the Grey Knights, like, kill them. The Grey Knights being the Inquisition's, like, demon hunting Space Marines. And the Inquisition decided that all the human beings on the planet where the demon incursion happened needed to be put into internment camps and re-educated.
Uh-oh.
And Russ was like, fuck that noise. I'm loading all the civilians onto my ships and we're leaving. You can shoot at us if you want. You see how that turns out.
Ah, so he's heroic.
Yes, he's actually a very heroic guy.
And aren't the Space Wolves like generally more we were talking about like which Space Marine groups like had empathy and like cared about like family and cared about other people, and you mentioned that the Space Wolves are like that.
Yep, they care deeply for the people of the planet Fenris, and also they're one of the only Space Marine legions that drinks and fucks.
Yeah. Wow.
So I would put them down with Jagatai, but if you want to put him up one tier for like the whole has to kill his own sons on occasion thing.
Well, I feel like from what you're describing, he really like took that experience and used it to become more empathetic and mindful, versus like using it to like as a sort of a one-dimensional character motivation.
Yes.
So yeah, I would keep him in Actually I'm Doing Fine.
Oh, I did forget one big thing. He did get sent to kill one of his brothers as the heresy was starting, and just fucked the hell up out of his planet because he thought his brother was... He was convinced by Horus that his brother, Magnus the Red, was needed to die. So he went out to murder one of his own brothers. Didn't like it, though, is the thing, so... It's up to you whether that does anything, or if he's fine where he is.
I mean, being the executioner does kind of like that does potentially bump him up a little bit, but I feel like that's more like me thinking of it in terms of real life versus in terms of this world where like that's kind of everyone's baseline.
Yeah, and he's
having to kill a bunch of people all the time.
He's at least well adjusted about it and realizes the gravity of it.
Yeah.
So even though he's like a big angry wolf barbarian man, he's, you know, a nice guy.
He seems nice.
Okay, so we can leave him here.
I think that's good.
Okay. So Russ, you get the Actually I'm Doing Fine tier. Let's see who's next. Okay.
Who's next?
Another one that shouldn't be too bad. We got our boy of the 7th Legion, Rogel Dorn, Primarch of the Imperial Fists. Let me see.
Rogel Dorn, you were talking about him.
Yes, and here he is. He really should have a mustache. I hate it when he doesn't have a mustache in his art.
Oh, he looks like the dad from The Incredibles. He looks like Mr. Incredible.
He's a bit too boring for that, but fair.
He looks hero coded to me. He looks like hero coded.
Yeah, he looks like the most Marine Corps guy in existence.
Yeah.
Basically. So his whole... yes, a being of thunderous zeal and stone made manifest is how many describe the Primarch of the 7th Legion. He has a stern and naturally unsmiling face.
So this man is deeply boring?
Yes.
He's deeply boring. Okay.
He has almost no fuck you dad energy whatsoever. Because he is 100% loyal to his dad, except for the fact that it wasn't really known until more recent fluff, but I believe he actually kind of pissed off the Emperor, and a lot of that was what Dorn was doing was try to make up for it. Because he's the guy who like built all the defenses on Terra for the Emperor when the Horus Heresy was happening. Yeah, he was sent to I believe... Was he on a death planet?
Marathian says he likes water without any ice.
Accurate, I would say. Yes, he was sent to... So his homeworld is an ice world of Inuit. So yeah, just a land of ice. World of death and cold, as it said here.
Which is why he learned to like water without ice, because it reminds him of too much of his childhood.
Yes, and I don't really remember that. His background isn't really that interesting. Honestly, he just kind of took over the place very quickly. took over like the giant space station that was still around the planet from the Dark Ages technology, and yeah, no, he just everything was great, and the Emperor showed up and was like, wow, good job. Here's Legion, and he's like, cool, I'm gonna take that Legion. I really don't have that much to say about Dorn.
Okay, so he's so very boring. He sounds so boring that I would almost put him in actually I'm doing fine. Just because he's boring. But I feel like actually I'm doing fine is the space for people who have actually done like heroic acts. And so perhaps he is in confusing what is real.
I think he loves his dad. He's into his dad so much it actually kind of puts him into a bit of being edgy to an extent, because he's really hates his desire to not disappoint his dad is like paramount.
Ah, I see. Is he like a hall monitor?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Is being a hall monitor more or less edgy than than Lion?
I have a sentence for you. Two sentences that might help you.
Mm-hmm.
After the internment of the Emperor in the Golden Throne, Dorn was stricken with grief. He felt the Emperor's near demise to be his fault and led his legion on a crusade of penitence across the Imperium.
Oh my god. Okay. Okay, hold on. So I have a very clear picture of what type of guy he is.
Mm-hmm.
Catholic.
Okay, yeah.
But in terms of being an edgelord, which is more about like sort of puffing yourself up, being pointlessly cruel, doing things for shock value, like he's not much of an edgelord. He's sincere.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not heroic. He is evil. He is sincerely like part of the evil faction and doing things for the evil faction of his dad.
Well,
so,
in 40K, it's harder to determine who's the evil faction.
So, I think I'd have to put him in confusing what is real. Like, nothing like super bad has happened to him, but he's definitely like not a good guy, and he's got a lot of problems. They're just not edgelord problems.
Oh, one other thing just occurred to me. I mentioned earlier that Perturbator like set up like a death trap for him after the heresy.
Mm-hmm.
He did charge headlong into that trap and like got most of his legion killed just out of sheer stubbornness to try to get revenge on Perturbator.
Yeah, so he's stupid. Obviously, you didn't need to. I would have known that just from all the other descriptions.
Oh,
so he's a blunt instrument.
Okay, Marathian reminded me of something else. Actually, yeah, he did make everyone wear pain gloves when the Legion was broken into chapters.
What's a pain glove?
Exactly what it says on the tin.
Is it like from Dune? You put your hand in the thing and it hurts it?
Essentially, but yeah, when all the Space Marine legions were split off into chapters to make sure no one person could control an entire legion, he was the guy who did not like that and was like about to start another war over that being done. And when he finally agreed to it to avoid a civil war, yeah, he put everyone in pain gloves just because everyone was too loyal to him personally to try to like make this work. He was also really pissed at one of his sons and sent his son and all of like the angriest people that he had under him off on an eternal penitence crusade. And that's where the Black Templars come from. The angriest Marines.
Okay, eternal penitence crusade. So remind me again about Lion and his deal. Like I feel like I have to compare them.
So Lion is just really not very personable, does not know how to communicate with people, is very haughty and vain.
Right, he's an introvert.
His best friend betrayed him, and then his best
introvert betrayed by his best friend versus hall monitor blunt instrument fascist. Which one is more of an edgelord? I think introvert betrayed by my best friend is still more of an edgelord.
I'd agree.
Than blunt instrument, but blunt instrument is not actually I'm doing fine.
No,
so I think he's correctly ranked.
No, I would agree 100%. So yeah, we had a bit more to say about Dorn than we did about Jagatai. No offense to Jagatai, we just don't have anything edgy to talk about with him. Okay, so who's next? Oh, okay, here we go. Here we go. We're on to the good shit now.
Uh-oh. Gamers.
The Primarch of the 8th Legion. Yep. Conrad Kurz of the Night Lords.
Batman.
Yes, he is evil space Batman.
Yes.
I'll just
Maximum rank.
I'll read the first sentence real quick first. Conrad Kurz, better known as the Night Haunter, the name he preferred, and sometimes as the Dark
Batman.
King.
He's Batman!
Night Haunter was tortured all his life by terrible dark visions of the future, and this generated a level of psychic anguish and despair that set him apart from his fellow Primarchs. Oh, let me grab his picture here real quick. Can you guess which one of these people is Conrad Kurz?
Yeah, I can. Let me count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Number 7.
You got it in one. There he is. Let's just put him here already.
At the top.
I'm gonna turn on my fan real quick. I'm getting a little warm.
He gets excited talking about edgelords.
Oh, I do. I love Conrad Kurz. He's one of my favorites.
Of course he is.
It's because of how.
An edgelord, in
Hey.
case you guys didn't realize by now.
And he's also an extended reference to the book The Heart of Darkness / the movie Apocalypse Now. Yes, because
Sorry for yelling.
the guy who wrote Heart of Darkness is named Joseph Conrad, and Colonel Kurtz is, of course, the antagonist of Heart of Darkness and the movie Apocalypse Now.
Oh my god.
And in fact, he's dead, by the way, in the current continuity, killed by an assassin named M. Shen, which is just Martin Sheen, who played the guy who killed him in the movie Apocalypse Now.
Oh my god. Wow.
That's
rough.
Let's just
This man, you don't even need to say anything else. Like, he's already the top tier 1.
Well, we gotta go over it. Just come on, we gotta talk about it at least. Jeez.
Okay.
Got every sentence in his wiki entry. It's just, man. Let's see. Conrad Kurz was from the start a dark and haunted figure obsessed by death and judgment, and unshakable in his belief in the fundamental fallibility of humanity and the agency of fear is the only true means of controlling mankind's failings.
This is just the textbook definition of edgelord.
Yeah, no, you could put it next to the dictionary definition. Yeah, it'd be 100% accurate. So his homeworld is Nostromo. So he landed on Nostromo, which is a planet of perpetual darkness, where
how does that work?
It's the future. It didn't work very well. Everyone on the planet, life there sucked. It was like
Did it have clouds or like what? Why didn't it have sun? Did it have clouds or was it like a not rotating planet?
Let's see. It was perpetually dark due to its pollution-clogged atmosphere and the fact that it was circled a slowly dying star whose light was unable to penetrate the haze to reach the surface.
Oh my god!
It was a planet with a perpetual shroud of darkness.
Wow.
It's a hive city world too, so it's also got teeming billions who live in this world, and everyone there was evil, but everyone there was a criminal. There was no real law.
He's not just Batman, he's Frank Miller's Batman.
Yes, so he landed on this planet and no one found him. He grew up all alone. He never had a family. Unlike most of the Primarchs, he never had a father figure of any kind. So he grew up alone, and eventually, just viewing the society, decided that, wow, this place sucks. I'm going to become murdery Batman. And so he did. Thus becoming the Night Haunter, who prowled the streets of Nostromo every night, murdering every criminal he could find in the most horrible ways and putting their bodies up for display as an example.
Oh my god! I'm not the hero this city needs. I'm the hero it deserves.
Oh, let me just read an address from him to the Nostroman nobles when he finally revealed himself and took control of the planet.
Oh my god!
By reason, by truth, I have learned how your hearts and minds function. With that lore, I brought peace to this culture, at the cost of freedom. Peace reigns as I reign. I wouldn't expect your little minds to understand.
Bitch!
You're a little man with little dreams.
Oh my god! Wow, they pulled out all the stops for this guy. He needs his own tier. He needs a tier.
Oh, I'm
above
sorry. At the
this
Cost of
that's
Freedom was
just-
someone else. I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was multiple people talking. My bad.
It's just wow. He's his own tier. He's the platonic ideal.
So yeah, and eventually the Emperor showed up, and hold on, this is also good.
Yeah, and he was like, "Great, this worked out well."
So the Emperor showed up along with, I think, who else was there? Was it Fulgrim? I don't know, someone else was there. But actually, Kurz foresaw the coming because, as mentioned, Conrad had psychic ability, so he could, like, see the future a little bit. But he only saw bad futures. He could only see bad futures.
God, same. It's called having anxiety.
Pretty much. Oh no, it was Rogel Dorn who was there with them. God, what did he say? Oh, here we go. Yeah, so the first time the Emperor met his son Conrad, let me give you the exchange. Be at peace, Conrad Kurz. I have arrived, and I intend to take you home. That is not my name, father. My people gave me a name, and I will bear it until my dying day. And I know full well what you intend for me.
Oh my god. Just, I mean, that's him. He's the edgelord. That's him, the most edgelord.
I literally
ever.
We could literally, I think, spend like the entirety of the stream going over every edgelordy thing he did.
And every single individual thing would put him at the top of this list.
Yes, he never stops. And yet, he's still actually less evil than most of his Chaos brothers.
Oh my
He's
goodness.
just really...
This is a ranking of being an edgelord,
Yeah.
not being
True.
good or evil.
Oh no, he's top of the edgelord list. I just wanted to I wanted to give him a little bit of a credit for not being as evil as the others. He was torn and tortured. He didn't like how evil he was, because he was also the Night Haunter thing. It wasn't just a pseudonym he had. It was kind of also like an alternate personality kind of thing, where he had kind of like a good side and a bad side. Yeah.
Who was the man behind the mask?
Uh-huh. Exactly.
Oh my god.
Oh, yeah, and as I said,
Batman.
his legion
Batman.
was called the Night Lords,
Oh my god.
who were known
This
for
is
using terror
Batman.
tactics.
This is Batman.
Yeah, no, he's murderous space Batman. That's it.
Yeah, he's Batman and the Joker together.
And yeah, it just keeps going. I don't think, in the interest of time, I think we can leave it at this almost.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean,
also,
the only way-
yes,
Yeah?
I forgot. A Marathian pointed out another thing that is good. Night Lords are technically Chaos, but only because they just don't like the Imperium. They don't actually like Chaos either, because they're still atheists.
Oh my god, me and my army of atheist space marines. I'm losing my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Truly, again, every single individual one of these things would put him at the top of the list, and you keep coming up with more.
And I could keep going. I could keep
Lux
going.
Valentine says, when offered two paths, I took a third, which I love because there's that meme tweet going around right now where it's like, oh, I'm not cis or trans, but a secret third thing, and it's like I'm not Space Marines or Chaos, but a secret third thing.
Yes, and I'll leave us with a discussion with his death. I mentioned that the assassin came for him. Is basically just the ending of Heart of Darkness / Apocalypse Now, where he comes into the room and Connor Kurz is like, actually, assassin, I'm just gonna let you kill me to prove a point to my dad that I was right all along.
Oh my god!
Even in his last moment, he was doing the edgiest thing he possibly could.
Oh my god!
The ultimate fuck you, dad.
We stand.
And that's
Wow.
Conrad Kurz.
I love writing, you know?
Good old Conrad. Do you have
No one
anything?
should ever feel bad about being a bad writer ever again.
Oh, I think they knew what they were doing with Conrad is the thing.
Yeah,
It's
no,
very
it's funny.
intentional.
It's like, oh my god, just write with your dick all the way out. Just fully, I don't care. I know writers who use subtext and they're all cowards.
Yeah, yeah. Now,
Amazing.
the next case is actually a little bit more difficult, I think.
Okay.
We're gonna go with the Primarch of which legion was it again? Oh yeah, the Ninth Legion, the Blood Angels, Vampire Jesus himself, Sanguinius.
Yes.
He literally
why
is.
Is this ambiguous?
Because I don't know exactly where I'd put him, honestly. He's kind of all.
Are you like, oh, he's an Edgelord, but he's fuckable. So where does that put him?
He's also really nice most of the time. So
love to see what is his level of sincerity. Yeah.
Well, let me just go ahead and read off a quote from War Master Horus. In talking about his brother Sanguinius, because this is right when Horus was promoted to the rank of War Master, which at the time was like the highest military rank in the Imperium.
Okay.
Sanguinius, it should have been him. He has the vision and strength to carry us to victory, and the wisdom to rule once victory is won. For all his aloof coolness, he alone has the Emperor's soul in his blood. Each of us carries part of our father within us, whether it is his hunger for battle, his psychic talent, or his determination to succeed. Sanguinius holds it all. It should have been his.
Wow.
Sanguinius is not fuck you, dad. Sanguinius is rah rah. I love my dad.
So he's like the hidden gem, but he was like too much of a bad boy to like step up. He's like an Aragorn. Like he didn't want to step up and take the thing.
To an extent, yeah. He's also Sanguinius. Literally every other Primarch liked him. Like most of the Primarchs, you can like look at their listing and see which ones were their friends, which ones were their bitter enemies. Nope, everyone fucking loves Sanguinius. He was just so hot and so nice and so cool. Everyone loved him, and he was basically just the kind of Mary Sue-ish character that you're all right with, just because fuck it. I do like him actually. He's cool.
Yeah.
However.
But then.
So let's go over his origin story, shall we?
Okay.
So he gets sent to a planet called Bal Secundus.
Two balls.
Yes. He was found in the waste because the Bal Secundus was a highly radioactive planet with like lots of like mutants wandering the wastelands and shit.
Ooh.
Because he was found with tiny vestigial wings like those of an angel. Because by the way, he has angel wings.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he has gigantic angel wings.
I know this. I've seen this character before.
Yes. So he was hidden from everyone so he wouldn't be killed by like the planet's rulers for being a mutant or whatever. But he ended up like taking over everything in his group, and then he just took over the entire planet eventually, because of course he did. There's not much to be said, just the planet sucked and he made it good. A lot of people did that.
Okay, so he was a hero.
Yeah, as you do. So Emperor showed up, brought him in, and everything was great. Everyone loved him. Awesome. Let's see if there's anything I'm missing before things go bad. I don't know if I call him Shadow the Hedge Marine. He's not really that edgy in personality. Except for a little bit later. I'm just trying to see. Oh, yes. He does have a genetic flaw, though. And that's where things get a little edgy.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a flaw in his genome that is called the Red Thirst.
Yeah? Could that be because he's a vampire? Because he's a vampire named Sanguinius?
Yeah, he's like I said, he's vampire Jesus.
He's a vampire, so he can't be. Actually, I'm doing fine because it is impossible
to be
a vampire and be 0% edgelord.
Yeah, no, the Red Thirst manifests itself in like an unquenchable battle fury and desire to drink blood. And in fact, they do a lot of the Blood Angels do actually have to drink blood. In fact, some of the successor chapters that happen after the Heresy have such names as the Flesh Terrors, the Blood Drinkers.
Amazing. So you're telling me that he's like hot, nice, everyone loves him, but he's also a tortured vampire?
Yes.
Oh my god, just like my hero Lestat!
Yes. No, there's no way that he wasn't at least partially based on Anne Rice stuff. There's no way that isn't the case.
Just like my favorite vampire of all time, the vampire Lestat.
So, through most of the Horus Heresy, the forces of Khorne, the demons of Khorne, were trying to tempt him to fall and just fully give in to the Red Thirst. So, he also had demons basically sitting on his shoulder trying to get him to fall to evil.
Oh my god. Fox Valentine says he's got Alexandria's Genesis, but kept it in check by his mighty gene seed, so he just got the hot purple eyes and nothing else. Oh my god, what a fucking deep cut! Deep cut for Tumblr posters only.
Fair, that's on you, I don't know.
Alexandria's Genesis was a Tumblr fake post about how humans could naturally have purple eyes and other stuff.
Okay. So, there's really only one other important thing to mention, which is his death. So,
okay, of course,
during the Battle of Terra, basically, Horus realized that things were turning bad, so he let down the shields on his ship to tempt the Emperor into coming to fight him personally. So the Emperor, Sanguinius, and Dorn all went up to Horus's flagship to fight him. Unfortunately, Sanguinius was the first person to find Horus because they got separated, and Horus basically just murdered the shit out of him. Because Horus was at full chaos power, and Sanguinius was tired because he'd already spent all day breaking bloodthirsters' backs over his knee. So yeah, Horus brutally killed Sanguinius, and Sanguinius' death was so psychically traumatizing to all of his sons and the Blood Angels that it gave them a new flaw, the Black Rage. Where now, all of his sons, from then on, if they got deep enough into the Red Thirst and everything else, could go into the Black Rage, which is basically a state where they believe they are their dad, Sanguinius, and relive his final moments of pain and anger, and are basically you cannot come out of the Black Rage. You are put into a Death Legion group or something. I don't remember exactly what it's called. And you're just sent out just to run into the enemy and just start rip and tear until it is done. Until you die.
Oh my god. Would you say that they develop wounds that will not heal?
Yes, I would say they develop wounds that will not heal.
Wow.
So, you can see why I'm torn about where Sanguinius ends up.
Yeah.
'Cause he's a really nice, kind boy, and everyone likes him, but...
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a higher tier than
Lion.
Introvert Friend Betray.
Yeah, no question.
Now, is he a higher tier? I mean, I think we definitely move him up one, based off of this, being a vampire, being romantic, but also regret, having mixed feelings about being a vampire. That's really edgy. Having this uncontrollable blood rage where it's oh, I love you, but I can't control my blood rage. Classic. Now, compared to the other guy here, so that's Fulgrim, the guy who got corrupted by a sword.
Correct, and is now the sickest pervert in the universe.
Yeah. So is vampire. Is being the vampire Lestat more or less edgy than being corrupted by a sword?
Beardbroken brings up a good point here. He himself isn't that edgy, but everything surrounding him is.
Yeah, I would say that he's not as edgy as being corrupted by a sword.
Yeah, because he was never corrupted.
Yeah.
He was always a good boy. He never fell to evil, even though he was given the opportunity to do so.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't even he might have considered it a little bit, but that was only to save his sons.
Mm-hmm. But he's also a vampire.
He is a vampire, yes.
Again, I cannot overstate this enough. you cannot be a vampire and be 0% edgelord. That's just not possible.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's not going to be down here,
Louis
no question.
Like, ask fucking... He tried. It didn't work out for him.
Like, I like this position right below Fulgrim, but it's up to you whether he moves up past Fulgrim.
Yeah. No, I think this is the right place.
Okay, then we've got a good spot for our boy. Who's next? Oh, okay, we've talked about him. Primarch of the 10th Legion, Ferrus Manus of the Iron Hands. And again, I want to point out that his Legion is the Iron Hands, and his name is also Iron Hands.
Yeah, okay.
In Latin, Ferrus Manus. Yep. Also, he's kind of a little boring too, but he does have a little bit. We'll get into that. So, his nickname is the Gorgon. He was basically a master smith known for creating like the best weapons ever. He grew up on... What was his planet? Medusa, that's right. He ended up on the planet of Medusa, which was a feral world. It was geologically unstable. Because I don't honestly remember that much about his background either, because no one... Ferrus Manus is like the least developed Primarch in the canon by far.
Oh.
He's also the first of the Primarchs to die, so...
Oh. Which one is him?
Oh, yeah, sorry. My bad. Let's see. Where are you, Ferrus? Not him. Where is Ferrus? Oh, is that him? Okay, I think this is Ferrus Manus, actually. Yeah, that's him.
Oh, okay.
Yep, he's Hephaestus. He lived in a mountain and smithed 6 swords. Yeah, that's basically it. I'm just looking through. Is there anything interesting about his upbringing?
I see. He literally has metal hands. Is he Colossus?
I wouldn't call him Colossus. Let's see. He battered the disparate clans of his world in submission for his overlordship. Did not require... Okay, he let everyone keep fighting just to prove their worth to survive on his planet because he believed in strength. So he's all about the strong survive.
Deeply boring.
Yeah, that's basically it. The centrist Marine. That's a good way to describe him. The only notable thing really about him... Well, there's 2 notable things about him. I take it back. One was his friendship with Fulgrim, where they were like bro tier. They forged cool weapons for each other and totally didn't kiss in the forge.
Yeah, uh-huh.
And then Fulgrim went to Ferrus... once when Fulgrim first like turned to heresy, he went to Ferrus like, "Hey bro, have you heard the cool word about chaos? Why didn't you join this cool chaos thing we're doing?" And Ferrus is like, no, we're not doing that."
Classic neolib versus centrist argument.
Basically. And yeah, he was very sad about it, and eventually Fulgrim is the one who like murders him. And oh, I forgot one other detail about Fulgrim that does make him edgier. I forgot. I totally forgot.
Oh?
Yeah, just one last detail for Fulgrim. Post-heresy, even though he was like evil and a demon, he still loved Ferrus so much as a friend that he got his pet like weirdo, Fabius Bile, aka Fabulous Bill, to make clones of Ferrus Manus over and over again.
What?
Yeah, he kept making clones of Ferrus Manus so that Fulgrim could try to convert the clones to chaos.
What
However,
the fuck?
every single clone still refused, so Fulgrim killed each of them.
What the fuck?
Yes.
Oh my god!
I forgot about that, sorry.
Wow! Wow!
He did Duncan, Idaho, Ferrus Manus, but then killed all of them.
We don't have enough time to unpack that.
But that's Fulgrim's deal. Ferrus has nothing to do with it.
So Ferrus seems like... I mean, Fulgrim's issue, I think, seems to be that he is bi and Ferrus is straight. And it's just never gonna work out the way that he wants. Like, he wants it to be a thing, and it's gonna be one-sided forever. Ferrus doesn't get it. He doesn't get what's going on. That's that's a tragedy that we've seen play out throughout history. So a classic.
So does that move up Fulgrim for you at all, by the way? I'm just curious.
No, I
Okay.
don't think so yet.
Fair.
That's
pretty good.
That's pretty pathetic. That's pretty pathetic. It definitely makes him the highest of his tier.
That's fair.
Like the highest B tier. Like you really got something to beat if you're going over that. But I don't know if I want to put him with the natural born losers when he had to when he became evil because of a sword. That's really the dividing line for me. So Ferris, I think so Ferris, I think definitely down in confusing what is real. But is he, because he's also deeply boring, but is he more or less of an edgelord than a deeply boring fascist? Because he's a deeply boring centrist, and I feel like he's less of an edgelord than a deeply boring centrist.
There's one other detail that may or may not. Oh, I gotta switch music because this album just ended. 1 second. I'll switch over to Perturbator. Get some, yeah, just a little bit more future-y stuff in here. Little good mix. Anyway, the other detail I was thinking about was that his sons, turns out, did not understand him at all. Because here's the thing, you remember how I mentioned that he was all about, like, only, like, strength is important and weakness is the worst? Well, his sons took that to mean that they needed to replace their entire bodies, or as much of it as possible, with augmetics and, like, machinery and shit. So all of the Iron Hand Space Marines tend to basically be mostly robots, almost.
Ooh,
however, because Ferris had liquid metal hands. His name was Iron Hands, of the Iron Hands Legion, and he actually had iron hands. Just want to throw that out there. Because his hands were horrifically damaged at some point when he was younger, so he did that.
Yeah,
the thing is,
saying is it was from a dragon.
Yeah, I think it was. However, he was actually upset about that because he viewed that as like a crutch. He did not think that he did not want all of them to be replaced with machinery and shit. So
hello, hacker fucker.
Exactly.
You'll find that you robbed yourself you cheated yourself of enjoyment of the game.
Basically, so I don't know, the detail of all of his sons comically misunderstanding his intention, I think is a nice little detail, and him being much more sadder in death, probably.
That's funny. Again, like none of this is edgelord material, so I would put him lower on the D tier, confusing what is real.
Okay, so below Rogel?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. We'll put him there. And there's not that much else to say about him, because, yep, he got decapitated before anything really happened. Sorry, Ferris.
Now that Fulgrim is that much of a fucking edgelord, like, knowing that, like, the only thing that I think is that Fulgrim, like, he kept trying, versus, like, the real edgelord thing would be to eventually stop and brood about it, right? Like, so that's still there, like, but man, it's definitely making me wonder if Sanguinius should be demoted, because he just can't possibly approach that level.
Well, maybe. We've got other people to go, so we'll see what fills in.
Okay.
Anyway, next up is the 11th Legion Primarch, redacted. There is no 11th Primarch.
Okay.
Anyway, on to the 12th, and oh boy, we got one for you this time. The Primarch of the 12th Legion, Angron of the World Eaters.
Angron!
Yeah, let me... Angron, here he is.
Every time I'm like, when is it going to be this one specific guy? It's still not that guy. Okay, this guy, a little God of War.
Oh, you're more God of War than you could possibly imagine.
Angron. Oh, he do just look like the God of War. I love this picture where he has a dog and the dog has the same expression as him. Oh my god, that's fantastic.
So.
Ooh, that's Khorne.
Oh, Angron is the best boy of Khorne. Khorne loves Angron.
I see.
So, Angron. Let's go. We have to start from the beginning with him. So
Okay.
he was sent to a planet known as Nuceria, which was basically like one of the various like Roman Empire planets. However, he was found by slavers and put into the gladiator pits, where he had to fight in regular gladiatorial death matches from childhood into adulthood.
Oh my gosh. Well, okay.
And
so we're already very high tier.
even better. Oh yeah, they caught him because he'd been wounded in combat after killing a whole bunch of space elves who tried to kill him in infancy but failed because even as an infant, he was too angry to kill.
Oh my god. Wow. Okay.
So he was dumped into the pits and was such an awesome fighter. And as one of those, the way they kept their slaves in control was they put something into their brains called the Butcher's Nails,
Okay.
which is our cybernetic implants of like lost technology from like way back in the past that basically, if they're inserted into your brain, make it so that you feel horrible pain at any point that you're not angry and killing.
Oh no.
Yes. So, yes, he was given implants, which basically make it so he could not feel joy unless he was murdering.
Oh no.
And they're not removable in any way, shape, or form without killing the who they're in. They're still in
Wow,
him, technically.
What do the nails do? Do they just connect neurons in your brain? Like connect sections of your brain?
It's hard to say. It's lost tech. It works.
Okay, wow, this is very high tier. This is gonna be a tough one.
We're not done by any stretch of the
yeah.
imagination.
Yeah, compared to Resurrect, clone my boyfriend over and over again to ask him to marry me, and every time he says no.
So he was, once he actually had the Butcher's Nails put into him, the first thing he did was murder his best friend in a blind berserk fury.
No, Hercules!
And yes, and once he came down from it, he was sent into despair, as you might imagine.
Oh my god.
And this
this motherfucker was born angry.
So this led him to become Space Spartacus. Literally, he became Space Spartacus. He led a slave rebellion and was kicking ass. They were going around, like, freeing the other slave gladiators, going awesome. Until one day, finally, the slave gladiator hordes were surrounded by, like, every military force on the planet that was brought forth to finally kill them.
Wow.
And they were getting ready to do their big last stand, and the Emperor showed up, and he was all like, yo, son, fuck that noise, why don't you come up here and lead my legions and don't die pointlessly? And Angron was all like, no, I would like to die with my friends, thank you very much. And the Emperor was all like, I could use the Imperium's vast military might to win this fight for you and recruit you like a normal person, or I could teleport you off the planet, leaving all of your friends to die, and yeah. So yeah, the Emperor just zip-zapped Angron out of the area, saving him, but condemning all of the people that Angron ever cared about to death.
Oh my god!
Yeah, Morathian sums it up there. Angron stated the Emperor that he was meant to die upon Nuceria, but now but a ghost remains. Emperor replied a ghost would suffice for what he planned for him.
Oh my god! This is top tier. This is
hold on.
Obviously not ahead of Batman, but between Batman and Perturbator.
We are listening to that. Fair. Okay. Let's put him up here for the moment. So, now that he was on the Emperor's ships, and the Emperor's like, here's your legion. Now they're yours now. Have fun. Bye. So, his legion, who are all his sons, they kept sending the highest ranking person in to try to talk to him, and he murdered every single person who went.
Yeah. Damn, I would too.
Yeah, until a really cool guy known as Karn came along and was able to actually go, yo, dude, look, we know it sucks. Don't take it out on us. We love you. We'll serve you. We're your sons. We'll make the best of it.
Men would literally kill dozens of their own sons rather than go to therapy.
Yeah. And so eventually, yeah, he listened to Karn, and thus he became the Primarch of the World Eaters, who basically were just sent in, and every planet they went to, they just like butchered everything. And eventually,
Wow.
Angron was driven so crazy by all this that he got his people to like make crude versions of the butcher's nails and started installing them in all of his own sons.
Oh my god.
Yep. So he started putting them in everybody, and that slowly started turning his legion into ruthless, mindless berserkers. It's a wow. You wonder why these guys fell to chaos.
Wow, 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 wow. Wow, wow, wow.
So
God.
yeah, and
such an edgelord.
And-
I mean, just obviously, right? He's got the cruelness, he's got the dad issues, he's got the murdery, pointless cruelness. He's got the sort of pathetic nature of it, where he got teleported out by his dad from playing PUBG with his friends, and he never saw them again. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
And after massacring a whole bunch, eventually during the heresy, Lorgar took Angron on a fun trip to Nuceria, the original planet. And because actually Angron was dying, because the butcher's nails were killing him. But then he turned into a demon prince of Khorne after some shenanigans in Nuceria, and then he was fine. And now he's a demon prince of Khorne to this day, being
Good for
angry
him.
and murdering everywhere.
Good for him.
And yeah, that's basically, long story short, Angron.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
The
Well,
Red Angel.
Wow. Well, I think from all this talking,
Mhm.
I need to refill my water.
Okay.
So I'm gonna step away for a second here.
Oh, hey, I watched the movie this voice clip is from the other night.
There exist a lot of strange phenomena, bizarre beyond reason or logic.
So yeah,
See them.
we're most of the way through. We just have some more boys left here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Oh, we're actually literally at the halfway point, it looks like.
With our desires and our pleasures.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, hold on. That's not... No, we're not halfway. Duh. Halfway is earlier.
A world
We're
full
past
of
that.
evil that is undeniably real.
Yeah, no, it's not a good movie, Vox Valentine. I would not recommend watching it. I remembered seeing it on cable when I was much younger, and then I was like, I heard that voice clip a couple days ago, and it's like, that's a pretty neat voice clip. I should rewatch that. I remember the opening and closing to be kind of fun, and then I watched it, and I forgot about all of everything that happens in the middle. So, yeah. Although I will say, for an anime from the late 80s, the English dub isn't bad. There you go. It is very much a late 80s, like, adult anime, though, with everything that entails. If you've seen, like, Ninja Scroll and some of the other stuff from that era, you know what I mean. And I guess technically we have gone 12 out of 20, because we have gotten past the 2 redacted Primarchs already. So, true. I haven't seen Ninja Scroll since I was a little kid, actually. I should rewatch it at some point. And when I say I saw Ninja Scroll as a little kid, I mean I was about 7 or 8 years old. I also saw Akira around that time, too. I wasn't
Archie,
very...
have I left you alone long enough that you started bragging about your trauma to this stream?
Well, we were talking about, like, questionable late 80s anime. Anyway...
Also, it was really cute. Because I also had the stream open in my other monitor, and when you had you were like, "Oh, I got something else to say," and then you would move your hands up and down and make a cute little pose. It was cute.
Well, next up, we have the Primarch of the lucky number 13, and it's you know him, you love him. It's Rowboat Girly Man of the Ultramarines. I'm sorry, Rowboat Guilliman.
Shit.
So, let me...
Oh, he's the... Yeah.
You
I
can
know
tell
what
who it
looks
is.
like.
There he
It's
is.
that guy.
This guy.
Yeah.
This guy right here.
Yeah.
So, I'm
Probably
sorry.
not an edgelord.
I'm pronouncing his name wrong according to the Lexicanum. It's Rabute Gilliman. It's Rabute Gilliman.
It's Robert Gilman.
Robert Gilman. Yeah. Why do you? This is why we call him Rowboat Girly Man or stuff
His
like
name
that.
is Robert.
Or Robot Gorilla Man.
Okay, so he's boring. So we have a tier for boring, but
There's
we
more.
have to rank him on the boring tier.
There's a bit more to him than that. He has the most
Okay.
development of any Primarch by far.
Okay. Okay.
So he ended up on a nice world called Macrog.
Sounds nice.
It was nice. It was Rome, but like not as evil as like Nuceria was.
Okay.
Adopted by a local warlord named Connor or whatever. His dad was killed by a treacherous ally. Gilliman avenged his
warlord?
dad.
Sorry, a warlord named Connor or whatever.
Yeah, Connor, Konor.
Okay, Connor, just hearing it like that, it's like, yeah, Connor and the other feudal lords, Drew, Steve, Gary.
So yeah, so basically he beat everyone, he took over the world, and the world became a land of peace, civilization, wisdom, and strength, etc., etc. In fact, by the time the Emperor showed up, Gilliman had already like conquered all the worlds in the system.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, he was just just Gilliman is awesome. What do you go? There he was. Just awesome and great, and everyone loved him. Actually, though, not everyone loved him. A bunch of his brothers hated him because he was just a bit too straight-laced. And yeah,
Yeah.
people didn't like how like cool he thought he was. Let's see.
So he had a high opinion of himself?
He did, although he still wasn't as much of a dick as some of his other more like full of themselves brothers. Honestly, most of his interesting stuff came later on, because during the heresy, like the most edgelordy thing he might have done is at one point when like all communications were cut and no one knew what was going on, he like formed a new Imperium because he didn't know what happened, and was basically kind of setting himself up as the lord of a new empire. And the his other brothers who found him were all like, "Hey, bro, what the fuck are you doing?" He was like, nothing. Hey, you know what, Sanguinius? How about you be the ruler of the new empire, not me? I'm not looking to be an emperor. How about that guy? Yeah, everyone likes that guy.
Interesting.
But yeah, he post heresy, he's the one who like got everything organized again. He got all the Space Marine legions into the chapters. He's the guy who kind of started rebuilding everything, etc., etc.
Not a lot of edgelord behavior here.
Correct.
I'm not getting anything.
And then Fulgrim stabbed him with a dirty knife.
Okay.
And put him into a death state, so he's put in a stasis field. And then 10,000 years later, a bunch of elf waifus showed up and resurrected him, along with a robot man.
Okay.
As you do. And he woke up, and now has been going around kicking ass. But here's where it gets a little bit more interesting, because he actually entered the Imperial Palace and was the first Primarch to talk to the Emperor in like 10,000 years. And apparently once Gilliman came out of it, he's like, okay, fuck it, I'm ruling this empire now, let's take care of this shit. Clearly, with the implication being that he apparently like was a little bit pissed. He's actually getting fuck you dad energy now. Because he's not really happy with what's been going on. And he's been getting more and more interesting, and like with character development and shit. And having like make lots of tough choices, and like everything is against him. He's having to like deal with the entire universe being utterly fucked. And getting a lot of development beyond just being, I'm the boring blue guy.
I don't know. Those experiences kind of seem to me like they make him more well-adjusted.
That's
'Cause
fair.
He had to confront his beliefs and like act on them, and like
True.
he seems
You're not
very
wrong.
practical.
He is, and yeah, I'd say his character development does actually make him a bit more well-adjusted, and he's probably the most reasonable person in the entire universe, honestly.
He might be doing fine, actually.
He is a bit torn. He does about, like I said, a bit of fuck you dad energy. He doesn't really feel like he's got a bit of imposter syndrome going on, but that's about all I can say.
I think that if I would not put him as the most fine. I would actually put him in the middle, because like the Wolfman has had to do things that he's sad about. Robert really doesn't seem like he has had to do stuff that he's sad about. It seems he doesn't seem to be a lot of sad. He seems to be just like a project manager.
Yeah. There's been a lot of books like from his perspective at this point too, so he's like I said, he's like the most documented. Yeah, he's honestly just a pretty normal dude. He had a normal relationship with his family. He liked his mom, etc.
Wow. Like he doesn't strike me as heroic as Genghis Khan, so I wouldn't say that he's all the way at the bottom of the list, because yeah, not as heroic, but he does seem like a project manager to me, and not an edgelord at all.
Oh,
really.
He was also present for something that happened to one of the Primarchs we haven't gotten to yet. I don't think that would move him up, but we'll get to that when we get to Lorgar.
Okay.
But I think we're good with Raw Butt Girly Man here. Seems like a good spot for him. I like, for as much as I don't really care about the Ultramarines, I like Rabute. I think it should just be Robote, personally, but whatever. I like him.
Yeah, I would expect it to be Robote.
Oh, but oh boy. Next up, though, we're going to go way more into edgelord territory.
Yeah,
right off the bat.
Not a lot of unedgy pictures left down here I'm looking at.
No, although one of them will surprise you. Actually, the least edgy Primarch, the least edgy Primarch is yet to come, I think.
Wow.
He's one of them. But for the moment, we have to deal with one of the most remaining. We have the Primarch of the 14th Legion. You guessed it, folks. It's Mortarion of the Death Guard.
Mortarion.
Uh-huh.
Ooh, it's Batman's the Riddler.
I wouldn't call him the Riddler. He's more of...
No, he's Scarecrow. Sorry,
yes.
he's Scarecrow.
No, it's Scarecrow, but instead of fear gas, it's disease. Because he's the Nurgle boy.
He's the Grim Reapy.
Let's see.
I see.
Okay,
He is Scarecrow.
let's start with a quote from the man himself as a demon Primarch. Forget no insult, my sons, as I have never forgotten those of my father, of the Emperor, nor those of Horus. Forgive no slight or grievance. Hold your bitterness deep within, and there let it fester. Let it roil and
extremely
squirm
high tier.
and churn until you are filled with bile so poisonous that all you touch falls to ruin. Thus shall you serve Nurgle best. Thus shall you spread his virulent gifts across the false Imperium and watch its final rotting.
Extremely high tier. Extremely high tier. I would put him above Angron just from that post alone.
Possible. Mortarion, also known as the Pale King, the Death Lord, or the Prince of Decay.
Oh my god. Wow.
So,
Oh my god. Sorry. Bellafon in the chat linked to his minifig, like painted and stuff, and it's gorgeous.
oh yeah, no, a lot of the Primarch
Wow.
figures look great. And yeah, he's all like, I have a scythe and a hood and shit. I'm so cool.
Yeah, this paint job though on this one, it makes him look like a fairy princess.
Fair enough, yeah. Well,
But,
you know, technically,
what a beautiful
it's
figure.
actually funny, because if you think about it, he kind of had like a Rapunzel-y backstory.
Tell me about him.
So,
my dear.
he was sent to a death world called Barbarous.
Great.
Which was a planet that the lowest portions of it were just covered in plague gas death.
Slime.
Basically, he lived on the planet that was, the entire planet was a Dark Souls swamp.
Oh no.
Yep, he lives in Blighttown, the city, the planet. Blight Planet is where he lived, literally.
Oh, well, how was he gonna not end up being a follower of Nurgle?
Yes, and the planet was ruled by overlords who are potentially like Xenos. They lived in like towers that like rose out of the poison clouds. And one of the overlords took him in. The High Overlord did. And like taught him all shit, named him Mortarion, Child of Death.
Wow. Wow.
And he was forced to live at a position on the tower that was at the limit of even his superhuman tolerance to the toxins in the air. So yeah, basically trained and trained and trained until eventually the Emperor showed up and Mortarion was like, hey, I can take care of this for you. And Mortarion was like, no, I will take care of my own problems. Fuck you, Space Dad.
Oh my god.
So Mortarion tried. However, the poisons and such were just far too much for him to deal with where the Overlord lived, and he couldn't actually do it. So the Emperor like did it for him. And it's like, okay, Mortarion, you couldn't do that shit. That means you're now serving me. Here's your legion. Have fun. So basically, Mortarion started off being pissed at his dad for showing him up.
Wow. Okay. I guess because he lost to his I think I'm seeing a theme in terms of when the Emperor shows up and does stuff. And yeah, wow. Maybe below Angron, but still like very, very high.
Yeah, that's where I get him at the moment. Or well, with Perturbator and him, it can really go either way.
I feel like he's almost a more like he's like Perturbator and him have a lot in common, but he's more.
He's more traditional edgelord, I think.
Yeah.
So we can put him there.
He has more his like Perturbator is more like I'm complaining about nothing, and Mortarion here is like he's acting like this, and it's also based off of like trauma and and so that makes him more of an edgelord.
Makes sense to me. And yeah, so from there, these
are some powerful top tier edgelords. Like since he is just sort of to me he's like a strict improvement on Perturbator. It really makes me want to like move Perturbator down one and move Sanguinius down one because of this like the tier level, because then yeah.
So like this?
Yeah, I think so. Because like he's just like because then if that's who's in these tiers, like the other ones like can't compete. They have to stay in their own tier.
Oh, also I get it backwards. I'm sorry. It was more poisonous the higher you got, and everyone lived at the bottom below the Overlord. My bad.
I figured that was what it was.
Yeah. So yeah, Vox Valentine has it there. But anyway, to go on, he's similar to Perturbator in that he's angry that other people like don't like view him like well enough. He thinks people should like him more, etc., etc. He fucking hates psychers, by the way. He wants every psycher to be just killed. He hates them all, which is hilarious that he falls to chaos later. But anyway.
Wow.
Speaking of his fall to chaos, I think that's the other main thing to talk about with his edginess. So he joined up with the Horus Heresy pretty quickly because he was very angry at his dad. So at one point, him and his boys in the Death Guard end up in the warp, but they get trapped in the warp. And then, as they're trapped in the warp, him and everyone else on the ship start like succumbing to horrible diseases. Like so powerful, they're even like killing his like Space Marines. Because it turns out that one of Mortarion's lieutenants, a guy named Typhus. Wow, a guy named Typhus turns out. His name is literally Typhus. Was actually a closet Nurgle cultist the whole time, and actually led them into this trap in order to get his legion to turn to Nurgle.
Oh my god.
So,
Betrayed.
Yeah, so basically everyone is horribly dying and in pain from these diseases, and Nurgle demons show up and say to Mortarion, hey, if you bend your knee to Nurgle, we'll make all of this pain go away. Won't that be great? And he resists for a long time, but just like on his home planet, can't quite do it. So, yep, he pledges his eternal loyalty to Nurgle. Mortarion just cannot catch a break.
Wow. That's what separates him from Angron. That's why he's a lower tier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Just can't catch a break.
That's the main thing, except for the fact that some fucking Grey Knight asshole carved his name into Mortarion's heart at one point later.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we don't. The fan base doesn't like to talk about Khaldor Drago. He's kind of like the biggest annoying Mary Sue in the fluff. So, yeah, he's had like a super heroic Nightman carve his name into his heart. So there you go, more edgelord shit.
Wow. That's actually how Urchin's gonna propose to me. It's gonna take a lot of effort, but I think he can pull it off.
But yeah, no, I think that basically sums up Mortarion.
Yeah.
There's just more of that,
Okay.
really. Edgy death,
Okay.
man. Edgy death disease, man.
Yeah, no question that he belongs in the top tier because he was so edgy that he became, a chaos follower, and he looks like that. So I think that's that's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
Edgelord for sure.
Well, we can move on to the next one, who I'm not sure where he's gonna go, honestly. Let's see. He is the Primarch of the 15th Legion, the Cyclopean Terror, Magnus the Red of the Thousand Suns. There he is.
Ooh.
Here we go, Magnus the Red. He is the nerd. He's a nerd.
He's a nerd.
I didn't skip 14, did I? That was Mortarion. Mortarion was 14.
Okay.
Yes. Magnus is of the 15th. And so yeah, Thousand Suns, who are space Egyptians, basically. Basically he was, well, a nerd. He's the Tzeentch guy. Spoilers, he turns to
Okay.
chaos. Oh, I don't know why the wiki did that, Bellafon, huh?
Wiki problem.
Who knows?
19. So this is Korax, but he's out of order. This is a picture of the crow.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. Yeah, I thought so. Sorry, okay, I was a little confused. Anyway, moving on. So he went to a planet called Prospero, where actually, if I recall correctly, things were pretty good. It was a planet of nerds.
Nerds.
Well, they were a population of human psychers. So, yeah, no, he just became one of their leaders because he was like one of the most psychic people ever. And he just spent all of his time like reading and learning more and more about his psychic powers, and everything was great. Except for the horrible psychic predator beast that roamed the countryside,
Oh no.
called the Psychnuine.
What do those look like?
That's a good question.
You know what the first thing I thought of
evil
was,
wasps.
you know the invisible monsters from Planet Terror?
Yeah.
That's what I imagined first as to what they were.
And yeah, he's red-skinned entirely, by the way. He's called Magnus the Red for a good
Okay.
reason.
He is just red. I guess he's got like vague Egyptian theming, but it's mostly just robes. He's
Yeah.
just got that headpiece there.
The planet that he's on, like, they love pyramids. There's pyramids everywhere.
Yeah,
And there's like a lot of...
He just looks like a king. Like he looks like a politician
Hmm.
in this picture, which is very different than the picture you have for him here, where he looks more like a warrior.
He did both. He actually did not like being a warrior. He preferred to be a nerd, but he was forced to fight. That's actually that's the
Okay.
problem with a lot of the Space Marine Primarchs, where they actually weren't. Some of them really weren't that interested in fighting, but the Emperor made them do it.
I see. So that definitely makes him a little edgy, just being forced to do something against his will, being an introvert and forced to go outside. So he might belong in the middle tier.
But the Emperor shows up, and here's where we start.
Okay.
So the Emperor imparts further, because the Emperor's the strongest psyker ever, pretty much. So basically, Emperor starts saying, okay, I'll start teaching you stuff, but by the way, you shouldn't use psychic power too much. It's a bad idea. Don't do that.
Uh-oh, gamers.
But didn't really give as much information about it as he should have. Just basically a, no, don't do it. It's bad.
Classic shitty dad behavior.
Yeah. So he was given his legion. However, his legion was in trouble because their gene seed was unstable due to all the psychic shit. So all of his sons kept mutating.
Oh no.
So,
how do they mutate?
Remember the things that shall not be named?
Yeah,
they
chaos spawn.
Yep, yeah, they kind of turn into that shit pretty easily.
Oh no.
And yeah, the legion's name, the Thousand Sons, that only about 1,000 stable Astartes remained functional with it by the time Magnus showed up.
Oh, these are the Thousand Sons. Okay.
Yes. So his genetic material helped a little bit, but in the end he had to start like using warp powers to try to like stabilize his sons, which worked, but not really. It turns out that the fact that it was quote unquote working was because Tzeentch was allowing it just so he could fuck with him later.
Oh no.
So basically the main story about Magnus is nice boy, but had a capricious chaos god fucking with him his entire life.
Wow, yeah.
Also, no one liked him.
He's trying to fix it. Like, he's trying to fix it.
Correct.
And he's not like sort of turning that around and using his grudge to hurt other people.
Yeah, very few of his brothers liked him very much because of all the psychic shit. Jagadai Khan was good buds with him, though. And hey, Gwen. What up?
I would put him as more of an edgelord than introvert betrayal friend, but less of an edgelord than Sanguinius.
I think he might jump up soon.
He's a nerd. Okay.
We got more coming.
Okay.
Anyway, so the heresy comes around, and thing is, initially Magnus was actually loyal, and he got wind that Horus had fallen to chaos due to like visions and shit. So he was all like, oh fuck, I gotta tell dad that something's wrong. I have to tell my dad that one of his sons, his most trusted son, is betraying him. Oh, I know, I'm gonna like use like all sorts of psychic powers I've never tried before to send like an instant message from my planet to Holy Terra. This will be a great idea. Nope, no bad ideas here. So, Magnus undertakes an incredibly powerful ritual to send an instant communication from Prospero all the way to Terra, which would have been great, except for the fact that the Emperor was working on his own webway gate in order to make it so the Imperium would never have to worry about using the incredibly unstable and potentially dangerous warp for space travel anymore. And unfortunately, Magnus suddenly opening up shitloads of psychic power while the Emperor's in the middle of doing that, opened a rift into the warp in the middle of the Imperial Palace's laboratories.
Oh no!
Yes, and the only thing the Emperor knew about what happened was that Magnus had just opened up a warp rift in his lab. He didn't know anything else, because he didn't get the message. All he knew was that Magnus just fucked up real bad.
Yeah, jeez.
And that, like, way more badly than you could possibly imagine. Like, he broke shit badly.
Wow.
So, massive, colossal fuck up that doomed, like, everybody.
Wow, he may have to go up a tier into the massive colossal fuck up tier.
Yes, so we'll put him above our boy here for just a second as we continue. So then
He's climbing his way up.
we're gonna keep going here. So then the Emperor called up Russ and said, "Hey Russ, go bring Magnus in for questioning, basically, because I want to know what the fuck happened." So Russ was like, "Okay, I'll go get him." But while Russ was on the way, Horus sent Russ a message saying, actually, what you should do is kill Magnus because he's totally a dangerous heretic. Because no one except for Magnus knew that Horus was a heretic yet. Russ still thought that Horus was like the leader, was like the Imperial War Master at that point.
Okay.
So Russ was like, okay, sure, I guess I'll go kill my brother. So Russ landed on Prospero and just started burning everything the fuck down. And actually, initially, Magnus just sat there going, yep, I fucked up. I deserve this. I should die, actually. So he actually let down all the planet's like defenses and let the wolves in order to punish himself for fucking up.
Oh, wow.
But at the last moment, he finally decided that, fuck, I guess I should save my sons. And Tzeentch showed up and went, hey, if you make a deal with me, I can make all of this get all better. And he was like, yes, I will sign this Faustian bargain, sir. And instantly him and all of his buddies were teleported to the planet of sorcerers in the warp.
Oh. And then what happened?
And then he went full on into the whole, well, I guess I've been fucked over really badly by the Imperium. Guess I'll join Chaos since this is my only choice now. And yeah, so that kept on going along until, of course, they oh, sorry, this is a little bit.
He seems kind of like pathetic.
Yeah,
but
oh, very much so.
Also, like, he's still trying. Like, he hasn't, like, succumbed to resentment.
He will.
Okay. Oh, wow, look at this minifig. Oh my god, wow. I'm so glad that by becoming a demon, he is finally able to be hot.
Yeah, Morathian gets it there. So more mutation outbreaks beg the bird band to make it stop, Tzeentch. And then eventually, one of the other Thousand Sons, a fellow by the name of Ahriman, came up with a way to fix all the mutations, the rubric of Ahriman, and that went really well. And by really well,
configuration.
Well, in this case, all it did was, it did actually work on all of the Thousand Sons who were like powerful psychers. They were mostly cured of their mutation. Unfortunately, every Thousand Son who wasn't a powerful psyker was turned into dust. Animate dust. Dust that then lived in their armor, so their armors are literally just like animated armors with nothing in them.
Oh.
And like no will of their own.
They got Full Metal Alchemisted.
Yes, they did, just with like no will or anything, so not quite like it.
Oh, they have no will. Oh,
yeah,
no.
they have to be led around by their brothers who are the sorcerers.
That's so sad.
And Magnus was pissed that Ahriman did this, until Tzeentch showed up and was like, actually, I did this. Ha 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 ha. I'm Tzeentch. How have you not noticed this yet?
Wow. So now he's at his all-time low.
Yep, and so basically he just like, there's now like shards of Magnus all over, and his most evil shard is the one that like is dealt with mainly. And he spends most of his time trying to murder the Space Wolves, because he's still angry at Prospero. So yeah, he does that a lot.
Wow.
So his resentment is mainly just trying to kill Russ's children.
Yeah, I think he's the lowest B tier.
Yeah,
I would just move him up by one more.
These wounds, they will not heal, indeed.
Yeah, these wounds, they will not heal, for sure. But still not as bad as I am trying to resurrect my dead boyfriend over and over again to get him to go out with me, and he keeps saying no every time. That's a difficult barrier to cross. Correct.
Or Perturabo, the Mortarian but less interesting.
Yeah, well, Perturabo, the like classic suburbs teenage wasteland edgelord, right? Like there you go.
Okay, I think we're good on our boy Magnus then.
Yeah.
So now we move to one of the big ones. Primarch of the 16th Legion. The Great Betrayer, Horus of the Luna Wolves / Sons of Horus. And that would be this gentleman right here. With his little Eye of Sauron there.
Guy! Okay, I've been looking at this guy the whole time wondering which one he is.
That is Horus Lupercal.
I like his design. Also, I expect him to be top tier edgelord.
Well, maybe later on in life, but actually, initially, he was actually a pretty decent guy.
Yeah?
Yes, so he was... So, let's see, where did he live? Oh yeah, a planet called Chthoniya, which was another place that was like a mining... It was a mining world. There we go.
Belafon linked a picture of him, again, like, younger,
Mhm.
like an origin, and he just looks like a guy. He looks like he is he looks like the guy from Pawn Stars. He looks like he's about to appraise my sword and tell me that it's not worth very much money.
Fair. Sometimes in the art they make him look like Space Mussolini for some reason. Like, I think some of his artwork was literally traced from Mussolini.
Oh, wow.
I don't know why, but there you go.
Okay, so what led this nice boy to commit a heresy?
A whole bunch. So he was on Chthonia, which was, your standard mining world. He, like, he grew up and took it over because, that's just what you do. Emperor showed up, and actually Horus was the first Primarch the Emperor found, because the planet Chthonia was the closest to Earth. So they actually like broed around a lot, like father and son. Like they had like lots of good times. They had picnics. They rode on recumbent bicycles with each other. That kind of thing. Playing musical montages going on. It was great.
So Horus is kind of like the oldest brother.
Yes, and pretty much all the other Primarchs loved him too. He was just great. He wasn't as like. Everyone just loves him unconditionally, like Sanguinius is, but he's like second tier on that front.
He's the oldest brother. They all respect him.
Yeah, pretty much everyone respected him. First among equals is how they viewed him. So yeah, everything was great for quite a while. Everything went swimmingly, and then eventually he was like so cool that the Emperor was like, you know what? This great crusade we've been going on has been pretty sweet. And I have to go back home to do important things that I won't tell you about because I'm a very good dad. So, hey, Horus is the leader now. Bye!
Okay.
So, Emperor fucked off to Terra, and Horus was now the War Master. And everyone was like, you know what? That's fine. We like Horus as War Master. This is cool. And
I have to go back to Earth for some cigarettes.
Yeah, what he was really doing was that whole Webway project I mentioned that Magnus fucked up. Again, maybe you should have said something about it, Dad. I don't know.
I see. Okay, I'm seeing how the timeline fits together.
Yes, so they also renamed his legion from the Luna Wolves to the Sons of Horus at this point, because everyone loved Horus so much.
Okay, great, good.
And yeah, everything was great, right up until it wasn't. Because what happened was, another one of the Primarchs was actually the first one to fall, and we'll get to him. But that Primarch and his boys basically concocted a grand plan to corrupt Horus. So basically...
So it's called the Horus Heresy, but it's really a different Primarch that started it?
Yeah, but Horus is the one who leads it, because he's still the strongest.
Okay.
That's why they corrupted him, because they knew that Horus would be the best leader.
I see.
So they ended up on a planet where they took out the governor of a place after they were corrupted by chaos. And while they were there, one of those douchebag, the biggest douchebag in the entire setting actually, stole a Xenos blade called the Anathema, I believe, and made sure that someone stabbed Horus with it. And basically, that put him into like a state where he was like able to see lots of visions from chaos, and also he was taken to a place where he'd be like specifically coaxed into seeing chaos visions that basically showed him.
Are you telling me that we have a second character that has been corrupted by a cool sword?
True, but it wasn't the sword specifically. It wasn't like a demon in the sword necessarily. It was a little bit different from the blade that Fulgrim had.
Okay.
Because this one wasn't a sword that like possessed him or anything. It was just a sword that put him in a state where like the chaos gods could like talk to him and like show him visions of the future. Like, if in the future everything will suck and no one will remember you and most of your brothers will be forgotten. Ooh, what a dark future. Of course, he was showing him the current 40k universe after what he did, but they didn't tell him that part. Because, irony.
Right.
So he's
Very
like...
important in these.
Yeah, so he's like, whoa, fuck that shit. And the Chaos Gods are like, give us the Emperor, we'll give you the galaxies. So he's like, yeah, fuck you, Dad. Fuck you, Dad. And he went full fuck you, Dad.
Wow, that's all? That's all it took?
He got a lot of visions. Plus there was like feelings of inadequacy and jealousy within him that they exploited, etc. You know, they just find the small cracks and made them bigger and bigger until he fell to chaos.
That seems pretty open and shut, you know? I feel like a lot worse things happened to a lot of guys here on this chart.
And yeah, to an extent, he then, of course, he then went on to start being the edgiest boy that he could possibly be, fully going on with rah, 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 I'm a villain. Rah, rah. Oh yeah, no, Marathian got it right. He got stabbed with a knife made of ayahuasca and hated God after he finished vomiting. That's it. No, that is exactly what it was.
Yeah, that's not like super edgelordy yet.
So yeah, he then organized it so that all of the loyalist Marines that were still in the groups, in his group and other like of the now like traitor legions, because they didn't tell a lot of their guys what was up. Everyone they suspected might be loyal. He concocted a plan to lure them all to a planet and then bomb it from orbit.
Okay.
In order to purge their ranks of anyone who might disagree.
He's a simple man.
Angeron fucked it up a little bit because he actually landed on the planet because he wanted to like kill them personally. So some people actually got away, which is how the rest of the Imperium learned about what happened. But that's neither here nor there. He organized it so that like most of like several of the other like loyal legions were butchered due to betrayal. Like he's basically spent all of his time betraying everyone he possibly could.
Yeah, but it almost feels like he's just like doing it because he like read in a book that that's how you're supposed to betray people. Like I feel like I'm not feeling like his heart is in it. I feel like he's just doing it. Like he's just like, he got the idea, put it in his head, and so now he's doing it. And there's not a lot, I'm not feeling a lot of heart from these betrayals.
Okay. Let's see. So he eventually like cuts a bloody swath through the universe through the galaxy until he gets to Terra, in which case like the purge of Terra begins, as you might imagine. And that's the time where I guess the last thing would be
that's the time when all crime is legal, as we know. Yes,
obvious. Yes, 100%. But we get to the point where he kills Sanguinius, which we've already been over. Mm-hmm. So he murders his brother. And then the Emperor shows up right after Sanguinius dies, and it's like, oh no, my son, you've killed my other son. Why? For why? For why do you do this, my son? And Horus is like, rah, fuck you, Dad. Rah. And so they fight. The Emperor cannot bring himself to kill his son for quite a while, so Horus is like brutally maiming his dad, getting the ultimate fuck you dads in by like maiming him to near death. However, then it's kind of depends on which version of the fluff you go with. But for one reason or another, Horus does something that makes the Emperor go, oh no, you really are no longer my son. I must destroy you. So the Emperor goes, Kamehameha, and completely wipes out Horus entirely from existence. Just deletes him. So there's nothing left. And then succumbs to his wounds, and that's why he gets put on the Golden Throne afterwards. But yeah, so he got the ultimate fuck you dad in, and then dad went, no son, actually, fuck you. Ultra dead until Fabulous Bill came along and cloned him again, and then Horus's sons came and killed the Horus clone, but that's something different. There's a bunch of Primarch clones that run around. What can I say? So, that's the general overview of Horus.
So I feel like he is... Like, I just... From the description that I heard, I feel like a lot of the fuck you dad is very hollow. Like, very much, like, puppeteered by someone else. And someone else's designs.
He was definitely manipulated into everything he did.
So, I feel like he's maybe like the top of Fear is How I Fall.
I guess the lead evil guy has to be more generic in order to, like, sort of encompass everyone else. Everyone else is the more specific kinds of evil.
I also feel like Fear is How I Fall is also descriptive of his scenario.
Okay, there we go. Wouldn't let me put him at the top. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I could see that. Yeah, I could put Horus there. That makes sense. For being, like, the grand traitor of the setting, yeah, he's not, he doesn't even approach these guys.
He's kind of one-dimensional. He's not really a messy bitch who lives for drama, and that's why I'm keeping him at C tier.
He's written pretty well in some of the earlier books before he falls. He was a decent guy before he fell.
I mean, he's like cartoon evil. Like, he's just evil now. He got evil juice and became evil.
Basically. So, we were talking about the guy who led him down this road. Well, it turns out he's the next one.
Okay.
Primarch of the 17th Legion. It's no one's ya boy, Lorgar of the Word Bearers, aka the Space Jehovah's Witnesses.
Oh?
Here he is, this guy right here.
Hello? Oh, he looks like he's full of shit.
So we have Lorgar. Lorgar Aurelian, the Arisen. He's the religious boy.
I see. I like this picture of him young, where he's like a monk with gold runes on his head, and he's wearing one enormous pauldron and no sleeves. Just the biggest fucking pauldron you have ever seen in your goddamn life. Unbelievably large cauldron of a pauldron. Just a pauldron.
Why is he writing on his head? Because he is very religious and feels that that's a great way to just show how religious he is. So I'll just read the opening lines of the Book of Lorgar.
Oh no.
Because he wrote his own book, by the way. All I ever wanted was the truth. Remember those words as you read the ones that follow. I never set out to topple my father's kingdom of lies from a sense of misplaced pride. I never wanted to bleed the species to its marrow, reaving half the galaxy clean of human life in this bitter crusade. I never desired any of this, though I know the reasons for which it must be done, but all I ever wanted was the truth. So, yeah, that basically sums up Lorgar.
Well, I never asked for this.
Yeah, no, very much I never asked for this energy. So, he grew up in the world of Colchis, which was a world of old gods, which was basically in the middle of, like, a schism or something, and he was adopted by one of the, like, lower key religious leaders, and he was so awesome that he ended up, like, basically becoming the predominant cult on the planet, and they ended up taking it over.
I mean, he's already obviously very high tier. Like, starting off, maybe like the bottom of crawling in my skin. Like,
okay.
You know, right up there. Just from saying canonically, I never asked for this.
Yes, fair enough. Let's see. So he was found by a dude named Corfeyron, who's actually one of the few father figures who actually still it matters today. For reasons that I don't quite understand how it works, but whatever. So yeah, Corfeyron was a shitty dad. He abused
we had two shitty dads.
He sure did.
Oh, wow.
So, Corfeyron abused the hell out of him, but Lorgar was still loyal to him because he was just that much of a religious boy.
Because he didn't know any better.
Didn't know any better, yeah, even though he was brilliant, so whatever, don't have to worry about it too much. So people mutinied, Corfeyron's life is saved by Lorgar, and, Corfeyron started being nice to Lorgar, and Lorgar then basically became the lead. He was only being nice to him because he realized, wait a minute, this guy's my ticket to Easy Street. So yeah, he became the religious leader of the whole world, and then the Emperor showed up. Oh boy, Lorgar was fucking stoked about this. Because Lorgar had foreseen this. Kind of like an opposite to Conrad Kurz, because Conrad saw it too and was not happy. Lorgar saw it and was like, fuck yeah, God himself has literally shown up. Praise God.
Nice.
This is awesome, actually. Can I get your autograph, sir? So this was a little bit of an issue because I don't know if I haven't mentioned earlier. I've mentioned a little bit maybe, but the imperial truth at the time was an atheistic rationalist doctrine that forbade religious faith.
Okay.
Which was kind of a problem, but the emperor was all like, I'm sure he'll grow out of it. I'll let him just burn. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. So
wait, so he was a religious cult leader, but the god that he was worshiping was the emperor, right? Like the man? Not like a different idea of a different god.
He viewed the emperor as what his god must be, because he saw a vision of the emperor coming. It's like, that's God. Boom, that's God right there.
Okay, so it was like a religion.
Yeah.
Of some kind.
Yeah, unfortunately for the emperor, Lorgar just viewed it as, who else but a true god would claim that they are not divine? So he just got more worshipy of the emperor.
Okay.
So the word bearers were going around and they were like conquering planets like remarkably cleanly. Like they would like do minimum damage and they would spend extra time in the worlds like preaching and shit and like making sure that the populace was fully on board with the emperor. Unfortunately, that meant that they were very slow, and the emperor was all like, Lorgar, we're on a fucking timetable here. You gotta speed this shit up. You know what? Fuck it.
Stop caring so much about the civilizations that you conquer.
I'm tired of this. It's time for me to bring the hammer down. And oh boy, did he. So, I mentioned earlier that Robute Guilliman was involved with Lorgar, right? Well,
was he in charge of telling him Santa Claus wasn't real?
No, kind of. Yes, sort of.
I love when I ask you a question and you say no immediately, and then every word after that is slowly moving back around to agree with me.
The reason I say it is
one of my favorite qualities about you.
It's because Guilliman didn't do that, but he was present for that happening.
Okay.
Which is why it's no, but yes.
Okay.
So basically, Lorgar had like taken over a world, and it was like his grand accomplishment. Like it was beautiful. Like he built it up. It was the best.
Oh,
He was like, did a great job here. Oh boy, like this place, dedicating it to the emperor. It's awesome. And the emperor showed up. Was like, yeah, nice city you dedicated to me. Here's your brother, Robute. This is what you should be doing, what this guy here is. So, actually, you know that really nice city that you built there? Yeah, I'm gonna nuke it from orbit.
Oh no! So really, like, he was like a good boy who loved his dad, and then his dad got mad about it and, like, purposely destroyed him because he was too good. He was a too good boy. Yeah, it was very tough love. Yeah.
Yes. So he blew it up, and then
toughen up, son. You're not tough enough.
And we're not done because Robute was there. He didn't really like any of this, as you might imagine. He's like, "What the fuck are you doing? I don't what? No, I don't agree with this." Although the Ultramarines were the one who blew it up because the Emperor ordered them to do it. And then the Emperor had the entire World Bearers Legion, all 100,000 of them on the planet's surface, within the sight of the smoldering ruins of the city. And then the Emperor psychically forced all of the Word Bearers, including Lorgar, to kneel before him and Robute in the ashes of the city that they had built that was like representative of all the best that they had believed in.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So after that, he was like, well, fuck this guy, actually.
Yes. So then Lorgar was like, oh. And he locked himself in his room for a while.
Yeah, he was like, I thought this was my god, but he's not. He's just a guy, and also he's an asshole.
He locked himself in a room. And, he also, Corferon, his dad, is also now a Space Marine because they somehow, even though you're not supposed to be able to turn old people into Space Marines, they found a way to do it, so he's just kind of a shitty Space Marine, but he still is.
Plot reasons.
Yeah,
okay.
Everyone hates him, though. And also Erebus. I mentioned the biggest douchebag in the setting. It's that guy. Erebus is actually responsible for everything, because he's the one, along with Corpheron, who's like, hey, Lorgar, you know, there are other gods out there. And Lorgar's like, really? You don't say. Well.
Should I try to address my problems, or should I find a different coping mechanism similar to the one I was using before?
And so he took the pilgrimage and went to the borders of the Eye of Terror, where it's the rip in real space where the warp can bleed through into the universe. And yeah, he went and talked to the Chaos Gods, was like, okay, yeah, let's burn the galaxy down. Won't that be great? Yep, you're my new gods now.
It's like in college where you where some people go to a bunch of different churches to figure out their religious beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
So yeah, he is responsible for all of this. Everything chaos related. He literally wrote the book on chaos. The Book of Lorgar is a book about worshiping chaos.
I see.
And yeah, it went from there. I'm trying to think. We've already gone over everything he was responsible for.
He does he does have very much daddy issues, but also they're really justified. His position is really justified. So
true.
I feel like I can't really put him as a top tier edgelord. I would maybe put him at the top of these wounds they will not heal.
Now, he did kind of cause trillions and trillions of people to die due to his daddy issues.
I mean, I don't really know how to grasp that in terms of the Warhammer 40k universe, because one of the things that is happening all the time is that everything sucks and everyone's dying all the time. So I'm really not sure how to conceptualize that compared to all the other people constantly dying.
He is a large part of the root cause for why it's like that right now, though.
I don't think that makes him an edgelord. That makes him a villain.
Okay.
But again, part of being an edgelord, like we talked about, is kind of being pathetic and not fully justified in acting the way that you are. And I feel like he has a very reasonable explanation as to why he is acting the way that he is.
Yeah, and the Emperor was also killing billions of people, but there were at least moments where they weren't killing everyone. They were trying to take places peacefully if they could. So
I mean, having his religious views destroyed and then trying to rebuild to find the real truth is a classic teenage atheist fantasy fulfillment sort of a thing. So I mean, that obviously an edgelord, yeah, for sure.
And I guess to be fair, he also did like his brothers a lot. Remember how I mentioned Angron was being killed by the butcher's nails? Well, Lorgar is the one who specifically took him to the place so he could become a demon prince to save his life, because he did want a demon prince in order to
Lorgar
help
is
him, but
secret care lord. That's the thing. Is that he's an edgelord, but he's also a secret care lord.
oh, if Lorgar ended up worshiping Gork and Mork, oh, the world would be a much better place.
The fact that Lorgar is at his heart a care lord, he's disillusioned with the world and it makes him a villain, but it ultimately came from a place of caring that no one really taught him. He never had any examples ever, from what I'm hearing here, of how to use that impulse in a good way, and he never had any reward for doing it. And so I don't think he can be crawling in my skin. I think he is wounds they will not heal tier.
Okay, where does he go here then?
And this one's tough because he's not as pathetic as the others in this tier. He's the least pathetic.
Okay.
So but he is also a teenage atheist wish fulfillment. So, you know, it adds that additional layer. So is he more or less of an edgelord than Perturbator, the Teenage Wasteland emo kid?
Or the resurrecting his unrequited gay lover over and over again while also just being a sick, perverted douchebag.
Or Magnus, the universe's greatest fuck up.
Yes, the fuck up nerd.
Yeah, the fuck up nerd. I think he might be the bottom of this tier in terms of being an edgelord, because he succeeded. He is, you know, he, again, edgelord atheist for sure, but extremely justified. Like, not pointlessly cruel either. Like, he I guess he became the Joker. But even after he's like fully evil, is he pointlessly cruel?
Not really.
Not really. So, yeah.
He's just responsible for a lot of shit.
He definitely has wounds that will not heal. Though,
okay.
For sure.
Yeah, no, 100%. Because he has some of the strongest fuck you dad energy imaginable.
Yeah, but he's right.
True, but you can be an edgelord and be right about fuck you dad.
I think that it keeps him from sort of being in the toppest of top tier.
Okay.
Like, I feel like a lot of being an edgelord is the, you know, over dramatization of it. Of, like, you know, it's not like, oh, my dad, like, was abusive to me. It's like, oh my god, this, you know, my parents are the worst ever because they won't, like, you know, buy me the new MCR album and I'm mad about it. Or, like, I can't believe my mom makes me go to church. She's evil. I'm being oppressed because my mom made me go to church.
Okay.
Like, you know, it's stuff like that where it's like it has to be imbalanced in order for it to be like real edgelord behavior.
Okay, well, I think overall then we got a good spot for him. So, let's actually move to the other end of the tier list, most likely, with our next boy, the Primarch of the 18th Legion. You know him, you do actually love him, and he loves you back. It's Vulcan of the Salamanders. And that would be this gentleman right here. So, I know he looks kind of...
He looks so angry.
Probably just caught him at a bad moment. He's actually the nicest guy on this whole list, I almost guarantee it.
Belafon showed a picture of Vulcan from something Vulcan on old Earth, and he looks like Bowser. This is Bowser, King Koopa.
Yeah, no, that's a good. He's like a good King Koopa, basically.
Yeah, well, I mean, Bowser is actually like not that threatening of a villain because he's a Mario villain.
Fair, that's
nice
fair.
Sometimes.
But yeah, he's as Belafon said, the one black Primarch.
Wow.
And yeah, he indeed. Let's see. He's from the
Bowser.
Oh, he's from the planet Nocturne, which is a volcanic homeworld.
Okay.
It's
very Bowser.
Yeah.
Bowser's big blast.
His legion are the salamanders, as I said, so fire lizards.
The Koopalings. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. He had the Emperor when it was basically his planet was like volcanic, I believe. It was that kind of thing, as you might expect for like a forge dude. The main problem with it was that the Dark Eldar were just constantly raiding the planet. And we haven't gone over the Dark Eldar very much, but they're the pervert elves.
Yeah,
The Edgelord elves. We've mentioned them once or twice.
They're like Cenobites, yeah.
They're basically Cenobites, yeah, but elves. So he really hates them, and yeah, he basically spent a lot of his time kicking the shit out of them in his youth. But yeah, no, everyone loved him because he was awesome. Like, he would have forging tournaments all the time, and he'd win because he's like the best. And then the Emperor showed up. Basically, yeah.
He was one of the original judges on Forged in Fire. You
Exactly,
guys.
yeah. Emperor showed up. They challenged him to a forge-off. I believe the Emperor won. And says like, hey, by the way, I'm your dad. And Vulcan was like, oh, cool. Well, okay, sure, why not?
Makes sense.
So basically, he's like much more interesting Ferrus Manus. But honestly, though, there isn't going to be that much to say about him for this because, yeah, no, like he's all about like family and being caring and being nice to everyone. The only like edgy thing I can say about him is one thing that happened to him. Everything else is pretty much just him being a good boy and all of his sons being good boys. But then there is his run-in with Conrad Kurz.
Okay.
So during the heresy, Conrad managed to capture Vulcan, and he put him in a death maze. Because
no, like the Minotaur.
Basically. Well, actually, no, that happened a little bit later. But he did that eventually. Basically, he was torturing his brother and killed him. But then Vulcan got better. So
Okay.
Conrad killed him again. And then Vulcan got better. Because, you see, it turns out Vulcan does have one very unique aspect. He is what is known in 40k as a perpetual. Much like his father, the Emperor. He's the only one of the Primarchs who is a perpetual.
Would you say that perhaps you would also call that an eternal?
Basically, yes, that is what they are. Perpetuals are beings who cannot die, period. For any reason.
Just like Bowser.
Yes. So if you kill him, he'll just get right back up. Nothing, and he'll just regenerate no matter what you do. He is completely impossible to kill, no matter what.
What?
Even complete disintegration does not kill you if you're a perpetual.
What does that mean?
Who knows? No one knows why. It's not explained in the setting. No one knows. There's not that many of them, obviously. There's the Emperor, there's Vulcan, and there's like a couple of other confirmed perpetuals. Not many. Well, Bearminator, that's the thing. That might work, it might not. That's way... We can't get it. That's beyond the scope of our current discussion. There is raging debate about that. I don't want to get into it.
The scope of this work. Wow, Vulcan, okay.
Don't want to get into that.
Good
So,
boy, can't die.
So Conrad murders him over and over again. Until eventually he, like, puts, like, Vulcan's hammer in the middle of a death maze and says, hey, if you can get to the hammer, then maybe you can kill me. And so Vulcan gets to the death maze just fine because, again, he can't die. Gets to the hammer, and it turns out that the hammer actually also has a teleport device in it that Conrad didn't know about, and that's how he gets away. Unfortunately, it teleports him to... fortunately, it teleports Vulcan to Macrog, where Rowboat Girly Man was. Unfortunately, it teleported him into the atmosphere, so he had to re-enter. So he had to fall all the way to the planet, burning up in the atmosphere, and then hitting the ground.
Wow.
And
it hurt when you fell from heaven.
It did actually a lot, because that on top of all the torture he got from Conrad drove him insane for a while. So he was kind of like a raging monster for a bit, until they managed to, like, seal him in, like, a stasis coffin.
Oh no.
And then a bunch of shit happens. He may have been killed, but then actually no, he was actually just cured of his madness, I guess. Then he got back up. And then it's really fuzzy what happened to him after that.
He gets knocked down, but he gets up again.
Yes.
You're never gonna keep him down.
No. And then after that, the fluff is really not clear what happens to him. I don't really know what his current status is, really. And yeah, the wiki doesn't know either. Disappeared, location unknown.
So he's like the goodest boy up until they sort of needed him as a plot device, and then he got tortured for plot device reasons, and then it just kind of fizzled off.
Yeah, but then he was fine. Sad is probably not dead. Yeah. So yeah, that's Vulcan.
So,
there's more interesting about him, but nothing that really relates to the edgelord or not category. He's just a nice dude.
Yeah, he's definitely not an edgelord. And so he's definitely like, actually I'm doing fine. But where in actually I'm doing fine? Is he doing the most fine? Probably not as much fine as Genghis Khan, who did not get put in a torture maze.
That's true. He didn't have it, but yeah, his interactions with Kurz weren't that intimate.
Yeah. That's probably his fault.
Yeah, you're right. He did get into an argument with Rowboat Girly Man, but he eventually just went, yeah, as you said. He was like, okay, fine. So, want to have him here above the con, or?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good spot for him, I think. We're down to the last two. Well, actually,
Okay.
no, the last three.
I know. I know what that one is. I'm gonna refill my water one more time.
Okay. I might as well put the 19th Legion's Primarch in there already. Now, I'm interested where this gentleman goes. We'll see. Chat, any predictions on where you think our boy Corvus is gonna go?
You're so funny when you say, you're calling them all this gentleman. It's just like when you only say sir when you're trying to be disrespectful, but you claim that that's not true.
It's not true.
Do you guys, he calls the survivors like sir or ma'am all the time, and I only ever hear him say sir or ma'am when he's trying to purposely be disrespectful.
I do it other times too.
He claims this is the case, but I don't believe him.
Are you back?
So, okay, so Corvus.
Corvus Corax of
Crow.
the Raven Guard.
Yeah, wow. Just, he took one beat. He's definitely goth, yeah.
He is not anywhere. He actually dislikes Kurz a lot because it's just like, wow, I could have been that.
Oh,
literally,
no.
literally, he has this thought.
So he can't be top tier edgelord.
No,
because
absolutely
he saw
not.
Edgelord and was like, "Whew, I couldn't have gone that far." However, edgelords naturally do not mix. So an edgelord is more likely to look at another edgelord and be like, "Oh, I could never hang out with him. What an edgelord."
True, but Corvus is actually also a fairly nice boy overall. Let me read the quote that he has on his entry here.
Okay.
The first axiom of victory is to be other than where the enemy desire you to be. The first axiom of stealth is to be other than where the enemy believes you to be. The first axiom of freedom is that justice without force is powerless. Force without justice is tyranny.
Yeah,
Yeah, can't disagree.
can't disagree.
So Corvus Corax, also known as the
Seems like a
Liberator, the
good
Deliverer,
boy.
Chooser of the Slain, and the Shadowed Lord. He's the sneaky boy.
But he's good.
Yeah, he's pretty nice.
He's a goth, but he's a good boy.
So his home is a barren moon called Lycaeus. I'm not quite sure if that's a hard C or a soft C. Planet Kyavar is what it circled, but either way, the planet was a forge world, and they were under just shitty conditions in general, as you might expect. He was found by the miners of the enslaved inhabitants of the moon. And they basically
Okay.
viewed him as like a savior figure, even in his infancy, because they just got a feeling about this kid. And so, indeed, that is exactly what he did. They basically poured every bit of information and resource they could into him. And, yeah, he basically became the rebel leader and overthrew the tyrannical governments and brought
Hell
peace and
yeah.
glory to everybody.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, he's Space Che Guevara.
He's a hero.
He's Space Che Guevara without the questionable parts of Che Guevara.
So him and Khan down there, they're heroes.
Correct. You know, Corax is very heroic. And he's like, his legion is all about being stealthy and shadowy and sneaky, but like not like in ways like the Night Lords are. So they're the
Yeah.
they're the good version of the Night Lords.
Yeah, they're well adjusted. They're just goth.
Yeah, they're just like they're goths, but they're like the nice goth kids. You know those.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as for the more edgy elements of him, though, let's see. So I mentioned earlier that Horus like managed to get some betrayals and like butchered some of the other legions, right?
Okay.
So there was this incident called the Drop Site Massacre, where basically 3 of the Loyalist legions were told. This was after everyone realized that Horus was a traitor, but before anyone knew just how many legions had gone traitor with him. So the Raven Guard were one of the 3 Loyalist legions that were sent to Istvan V in order to bring the heretic legions to justice. And they were sent there with 3 other legions to help them. Unfortunately, the other legions that were sent to help them were traitor legions. So they landed and started getting into a fight, and then suddenly they were outnumbered like 6 to 1, if not more. So that's why it's called the Drop Site Massacre. It's because most of the Raven Guard, the Salamanders, and the Iron Hands were killed. That's actually where Ferrus Manus got beheaded by Fulgrim.
Oh.
So the Raven Guard were decimated. Very few of them were left. It was Korax and like just whoever he managed to get off Istvan V.
Oh no.
So he was desperate to get his numbers back up so he could come to the Emperor's aid and help save the Imperium from the heretical forces. So the Emperor was all like, okay, I wouldn't normally do this, but this shit sucks. Here, have all of the original gene seed information of your legion. Do what you can in order to make as many Marines as possible with this. This is very dangerous stuff. Be very careful with it.
Uh-oh.
So Korax was like, yes, father, I will. And he went off. Well, unfortunately, the Alpha Legion, who we haven't talked about yet, because we'll be talking about them next, got wind of this and were like, that seems like some good gene seed to have. So the thing is, they're even sneakier.
Yum.
They're even sneakier boys than the Raven Guard are. So they got in, took gene seed information, and corrupted the rest. So when he tried to use it, instead of making, like, Marines, he made horrifying, twisted abominations that lived in pain and anguish.
No! Bullying!
Yep, so Korax's like, oh god, what have I had to do? What do I do with all this? So he ended up rounding up all of his horrifying creations. It's like, well, I guess this is what I have. So he got them all together, armed them as well as he could, and sent them in to die because that's all he had.
Aww,
And he was
sad.
extremely sad about it, to the extent where, after everything was finished, after the heresy was resolved, the last thing he did was basically just like get on a ship, leave, never to be seen again, with the parting words, nevermore.
Oh, hold on.
There we go.
Hold on a cotton picking minute.
Yup, his last words to anyone were nevermore.
Oh, well.
Oh, wait, hold on, did they
Don't
change?
have another character that fucked up in a pathetic way and got upset about it.
Oh, did they retcon this? I'm sorry, I think they retconned this. It used to be
What does
that.
mean?
Okay. So, basically, okay, here we go.
They already wrote it once. They can't unwrite it. They can't erase their shame of writing that from the world. It's
Oh,
still
okay.
happened.
No, I'm sorry. They didn't retcon it. They just added a little bit more. I'm sorry. So yeah, he did leave, and his last recorded words were nevermore. However, unbeknownst to everyone, he took up his prior role as the Emperor's Justice Made Manifest and went into the Eye of Terror to try to hunt down and murder Lorgar. Specifically Lorgar.
I see.
And yeah, so he didn't manage to kill Lorgar, but like almost did. Actually wounded him pretty badly, and Lorgar had to lock himself into a chamber for like 10,000 years afterwards.
Getting sad and fucking off to go on your own sad boy mission is very edgelord. I'm in my mind he's going up between Lorgar and Magnus. Because he didn't fuck up as bad as Magnus.
So apparently,
he did get really emo about it.
yeah, Lorgar hid himself in a chamber, and screaming his rage and frustration, Korax swore to Lorgar that even if it took millennia, he'd hunt down the Urizen and tear him limb from limb. On the black door blocking the Raven Lord from his prey, 2 runes flared into being, spelling out a simple message: deny fate.
Ah.
So, yeah, that's the general story of Corvus Corax. He is now mutated by long warp exposure, though, so... But he is still
Is he
loyal.
turning into a Raven Man?
Probably.
I would love that for him. I don't think that would be a bad mutation. Anyway, I would put him between Magnus and Lorgar in tier B.
Okay. That makes sense. Because he's pretty edgy. He's just a nice boy. Just an edgy nice boy.
He's pretty edgy. He, you know, went on a space mission, went on a solo space mission instead of going to therapy. And he fucked up real bad. Much like Magnus did. This is the I fucked up real bad tier. The B tier. These wounds they will not heal. That's true. It is.
Uh-huh. So yeah, no, that's a good spot for him. We can leave him there. And that leads us to the final Primarch/Primarchs.
Yeah,
The
twins.
Primarchs of the 20th Legion, the Alpha Legion, Alfarius and Omegon. The most unsubtly named people ever.
What I know writers who use subtlety and they are all cowards.
Now here's the thing. I don't actually think that we can rank these guys. Because
Why?
we
You don't know if one of them's alive or not?
Yeah, we don't know which one of them is alive at this point. We don't know which one did what. We don't really know what any of their motives are. Basically,
What? We don't know what their motives are.
not what they really are. Like they have so many conflict. Yeah, exactly. Belafon, Alpha Legion information. Yeah, no, literally everything about them is meant to just be That's all you get from us.
Nobody knows anything about them? What are things that they've done?
They have... So, okay. They're the sneakiest of sneaky boys. They're basically just the CIA, but much better at their jobs than the CIA. Like, they're just spooks. They're all spooks. Like, they're all meant to be, like, able to function on their own. They make themselves look almost identical, so you can't actually differentiate any Alpha Legion member from another one.
Oh, so it's Hitman.
Yeah, they're all bald. Yeah, and their symbol is the Hydra for obvious reasons.
Lol.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about them, really, because they're either, like, grand heretics, or they've been secretly loyal the whole time and working for the Imperium undercover. Although, maybe one twin was Chaos and one was loyal, or maybe both were Chaos, or maybe both were loyal?
Could you give me some examples of things they've done?
Yeah.
Just say what they've done without feeling the need to also insert what their motivation was for doing it. Like, let's just look at the facts.
That's the hard part, though, because it's not even clear exactly what they themselves... So, like, they spent a good portion of the heresy just, like, running other legions around in circles, just on stalling tactics, like, all the time.
Okay, what other legions?
They did that to the Raven Guard, I believe. Oh, no, hold on. I'm looking through. Oh, the White Scars. They did that to the White Scars a lot. Yeah, they spent a lot of time...
Those are good guys, right?
Yeah,
Like,
they
those
ran...
were
Yes.
loyalists.
They ran the White Scars around a bunch, but here's the thing. It's entirely possible that the reason they were doing it was actually to put them in a better position so they could actually hear about what was happening and get the right information sooner, and so they could make a decision to stand with the Empire.
So they're sort of like the Nagito Komeda of Primarchs.
Yes, very much so. The only thing that is at all for certain is that they were on a planet where they ended up getting contacted by a group of aliens called the Cabal, where basically the aliens told Alfarius that, look, if Chaos wins now, then Chaos will burn out, like, within a few generations, and the galaxy will be at peace finally. If Chaos doesn't win, it will launch the universe into eternal war, and everything will just be decay and rot forever. So it's either... They basically told the Alpha Legion, if you turn to Chaos now, you can ultimately defeat Chaos. If you try to fight Chaos, you will only make Chaos stronger over time. And it's implied that maybe they fell to Chaos for that in order to make Chaos destroy itself. But then later
They're
information...
accelerationists.
Yes, but then later information implies that maybe they didn't actually believe the aliens and made the aliens think they believed them just to extra fuck with them.
Well, I don't like that as like, oh, well, why'd you do this? Oh, just because I'm a little stinker. Like, I'm definitely less likely to believe that when there are, like, real reasons that could explain.
Well, it's not that I don't mean that they do it just to, like, literally to fuck with them. I mean because they wanted to, like, serve the Imperium, but, like, also throw off the aliens.
So they lied.
Yes, that's basically all they do. They just lie constantly.
Where would I put Nagito Komeda on this chart?
Yeah, they are a
terms of
perpetual
being an
sequel
edgelord.
hook. That is a good way to describe them. Like, to be continued every single time. You kill both Altharius and Omegagon. Or did you? Bum bum bum.
That is pretty annoying. Like, it's annoying in the same way that Komeda is annoying.
Yes.
So I think I've really figured out the essence here.
Okay, okay.
Annoying. Is he on the side of hope? Is he on the side of despair? We don't know, right? It's always mixed messages with him.
Yep.
So where does he belong? He's not a maximum edgelord,
No.
but he's also not an edgelord.
Yeah. I think, personally, I kind of just put him dead center. Like, where else do you put him?
No.
No? Okay.
I can't put him dead center because you're saying, well, it's perfectly balanced all the time, so it must go in the middle, but that's not true. Being a Komeda is inherently not
Okay,
the middle tier of edgelord.
Okay.
It makes you, it bumps you up because you're annoying.
Okay.
You have that, it evokes that reaction from people of like, oh my god, this fucking guy.
Okay.
Would you just fucking stop. So I would put
Guessing it's one of these two tiers.
definitely B tier.
B
but,
tier?
like,
Okay.
Where in B tier? Because where does oh my god this fucking guy would you just fucking stop belong in this tier? And I feel like it's close to Perturbo because he is also like, oh my god, this fucking guy, would you just fucking stop?
Here, but is he
Like,
edgier than Fulgrim?
The way that the edginess presents itself is more like in a way of like I'm being ambiguous to annoy you on purpose.
Okay.
Or not that I'm annoying you on purpose, but that I'm so caught up in my philosophical belief of hope versus despair, which is so dissonant from how everyone else exists,
Mm-hmm.
that it's frustrating. But it's like it's a sincere belief.
That said, it would be Beard Broken is correct, and it would be funniest to put them into confusing what is real.
Yeah, he's crawling in my skin. Yeah, because I'm annoyed. Yeah, confusing what is real is also what we're doing.
Uh-huh. The last placement.
I know. I would put him in my heart. I put him between Perturbo and Fulgrim.
Okay, he goes here.
Yeah,
Okay, not what I was expecting, but
That's where I
fair
put him.
enough.
that's where I put him. I think that kind of behavior, I think, is just
I'll worry about that.
super annoying.
Fair. Is annoying edgelord, necessarily? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it is. Because it's it has that fucking with people on purpose, or maybe it's not, or maybe it is, and the fact that I'm doing all of this and like being obscure about it and driving you crazy, like, is also part of it's just annoying. It's so irritating. That I think it does fall into it's I'm the Joker baby,
Mhm.
like which is very edgelord thing. Like it's not the edgelord part that's like I'm saying cruel things for shock value.
Mm-hmm.
But it is very much I'm the Joker baby. It feels performative.
Well, I wouldn't agree, but we did make sure this was your list, so we'll keep him there. I would put him lower personally.
I think you're being fooled by them if you want to put them a lower tier.
I've just read it's just really hard to like sum them up because it's just hard to know what's real with them. Oh, they've got some interesting books about them, so I don't know. I don't think they're quite as annoying as they seem to be just from this very, very cursory explanation. It's just hard to get in depth about them.
I mean, if this is a Komeda situation, I know Komeda.
They do.
I know where he belongs.
It's entirely possible they actually have very decent reasons for what they're doing, though.
So did Komeda. Do you not? Do you not know?
It's been a while since I watched Danganronpa.
So in Danganronpa V2, his motivation is he is ultimately on the side of hope, but he takes actions as if he's on the side of despair in order to inspire everyone else for hope to win.
Okay, fair. Fair enough. At least it's not Nagito.
And
fair
it
enough.
doesn't make any fucking sense. It doesn't. Everyone's like, why are you like this? And he's like, because of my weird philosophy on how I approach my life. And even as all of that unfolds, it's still ambiguous if he's even saying what he means, and it sucks, and I hate him.
Okay, fair enough.
But
fair
also,
enough.
I love him.
Fair enough. Well, I mean that that basically is Alpharius Nomagon. Yeah, that's pretty correct. That's them.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is the tier list as DeviousVacuum ranks the 18 existent 40k Primarchs. I think we've learned a lot today.